Chapter 290. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by Xiao? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Chapter equals section N on %. The truth was obvious. When they first met, Lei Bao and fought, EU and Gu Lin attacked Lei Bao at the same time. After a few rounds, they were injured by Lei Bao and were captured. Baidu search, Love Go female sign Xiao, Shua, www.ai2x. Now, Night Sorrow defeated the overbearing Lei Bao by himself. After feeding Tianyu and Tiger Eagle Beast pills, Night Sorrow sat down to cultivate. Gu Lin and the others changed shifts. Everyone knew that it was not safe at night. After cultivating until the second half of the night, Night Sorrow realized that his true chi had reached a bottleneck. He had reached the peak of level 8 core formation and needed to advance. Looking at the sky, Night Sorrow called Gu Lin, who was on night duty. I'm going into seclusion. Wait for me when the sun rises. After instructing Gu Lin, Night Sorrow asked Tianyu to guard him and went to break through. Baidu search, Love Go female sign Xiao, Shua, www.ai2x. Gu Lin stayed outside to guard Night Sorrow. The sky soon brightened. Night Sorrow was also at the point of breaking through. The 9th energy halo was slowly forming. Gu Lin, EU, and the others were on guard outside. They were extremely shocked. Night Sorrow had only been in the Medicine Valley for less than 2 years. He had already reached level 9 core formation. Which one of them had not cultivated for more than 10 years? After successfully breaking through, Night Sorrow stabilized his cultivation before ending his cultivation. After getting up, Night Sorrow looked at everyone. If there's nothing else, let's set off. Return to the entrance and arrange for the others to prepare for an emergency. Love Go Xiao Shua Wuku. Okay. EU nodded and got on the back of the eagle trainer. The others also released their flying beasts. These people were all in the top 10 of the pill leaderboard. They all had flying beasts and were very strong. They were captured a while ago because they met the abnormal Lei Bao. It's just that it delayed the search for resources, Gu Lin said regretfully. Night Sorrow glanced at Gu Lin and the others and said, if you can't get the resources, then we'll just rob you. Anyone who comes near the entrance of the Medicine Valley has bad intentions. We'll just rob you directly. Martial Uncle is so domineering. Gu Lin and the others laughed. Night Sorrow told Tianyu to ignore EU's eagle training and began to meditate to stabilize his cultivation. In the following days, the group sped up their journey. It was a long journey. Night Sorrow had taken more than a month to get here. Although he had wasted some time due to the pressure, it was impossible for him to return quickly. Night Sorrow cultivated on Tianyu's back during the day, but he was not idle at night either. After half a month, Night Sorrow's cultivation had increased a little. His bone forging cultivation had also reached the peak of the 5th level. He had finished strengthening his chest and abdomen. As long as he strengthened his bone marrow, he would enter the 6th level of the bone forging realm. When they set up camp at night, Night Sorrow purposely stayed away from the others. He had the Tiger Eagle stand guard outside. After Tianyu stayed close to him, he began to break through. Strengthening his bone marrow was a painful process, but Night Sorrow had already gotten used to it. However, he did not expect a situation to occur. Night Sorrow was in extreme pain. His body was trembling and his forehead was covered in sweat. His facial muscles were twitching uncontrollably. This was discovered by EU, who was on night duty. EU was shocked. He planned to wake Night Sorrow up. This kind of situation was usually caused by a heart demon. Just as EU was about to wake Night Sorrow up, Tianyu could not take it anymore and began to attack. Facing Tianyu's attack, EU retreated, not knowing what to do. EU had no choice but to call Gu Lin and the others over. What should we do? If we forcefully wake him up, his martial uncle will be seriously injured. Perhaps he can survive, said Gu Lin. How can this be? He's just cultivating, not breaking through. How can there be a heart demon? EU anxiously paced back and forth. Night Sorrow was still working hard to break through. As the most important part of his bone marrow was strengthened, the pain lessened and his external condition improved. Seeing this, EU and the others relaxed. They did not know that if they really interrupted Night Sorrow, it would be troublesome. In the middle of the night, Yi Shang successfully raised the myriad Dao scriptures bone-forging realm cultivation level to the 6th level. Knight Sorrow did not get up. He stabilized his cultivation until dawn. He took out a wine jar and drank 2 mouthfuls. "Martial uncle, are you all right?" asked Gu Lin as he walked over. "I'm fine. What could happen to me?" said Knight Sorrow with a smile. He was in a good mood now that his cultivation had increased. "You encountered a heart demon last night. It's good that you can survive," said Gu Lin as he walked over. Yi Shang was stunned for a moment. He didn't know why everyone was looking at him strangely. "We wanted to wake you up, but Tianyu stopped us," said Gu Lin. Knight Sorrow thought for a moment and understood that it was caused by his breakthrough last night. Fortunately, Tianyu stopped them. Otherwise it would be a big problem. "I was cultivating. If you interrupted me, it would be troublesome. Let's not talk about it. Let's go." Knight Sorrow put away the tiger eagle and jumped onto Tianyu's back. Knight Sorrow felt a lingering fear. If Tianyu hadn't been so strong and knew how to protect his master, he would have been tricked. His breakthrough would have been interrupted, and his vitality would have been greatly damaged. He didn't know how long it would take to recover. This time, something had almost happened. Knight Sorrow decided to stay away from this group of people when breaking through in the future. It was too easy for something to happen. The following days were peaceful. There were monster attacks, but they were not strong. EU, Gu Lin and the others took care of them. Half a month later, EU forced a breakthrough. He knew that there might be a big battle at the space passage of the Medicine Valley. If he did not improve his strength, Knight Sorrow could only fight alone. Knight Sorrow was very happy that EU broke through. EU was not as strong as Lei Bao when he entered the 4th stage, but he could suppress the peak of core condensation. It was a month and a half later when they returned to the space passage. Knight Sorrow, EU and the others guarded the entrance of the passage. Gu Lin went out of the passage and reported the situation to the sect. After a while, Gu Lin came back. The Great Elder asked Knight Sorrow to go out. Knight Sorrow returned to the entrance through the space passage. At the entrance of the passage, the Great Elder and Lu Chen sat in the clouds. Disciple greets the Great Elder. Knight Sorrow bowed to salute. Gu Lin said that after you go in, you will guard the entrance of the passage and let the others come back smoothly. If there is an opponent you can't resist, then come back immediately. Don't make unnecessary sacrifices. The Great Elder said. Remember, safety is the first. As long as you come out, no one will dare to chase after you. Lu Chen Yun reminded Knight Sorrow. After chatting with the Great Elder and Lu Chen Yun for a while, Knight Sorrow returned to the space passage again. He knew that dozens of people entered the Medicine Valley. Only a few people went out, and most of them were still looking for opportunities inside. Days passed, and most of the disciples of the Medicine Valley came back. 3 months have passed. It was the same to go back to the passage to look for opportunities. If they went too far and missed the return date, it would be troublesome. No one would take this risk. The disciples of the Medicine Valley who came back knew that Knight Sorrow and EU were guarding here. They were willing to share some of the harvest, but Knight Sorrow refused, and EU did not accept. Chapter 291. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go divided by Xiao? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Knight Sorrow explained the situation to EU. Baidu search AI Go female sign Xiao, say www.aichuxs.com. Yes, Lei Bao of the Thunder Rumbling sect won't come, but other people might come. The Red Cloud sect will definitely come. I don't know if the Holy Light sect and the Golden Flame sect have received the news. No matter which force knows the news, they need enough time to go back. Should we come up with a strategy? EU looked at Knight Sorrow and said, Avoid the edge? I've thought about it, but the disciples of the Medicine Valley are nearby. If we retreat, they will definitely search for us, and the disciples of the Medicine Valley will be killed. Knight Sorrow said. Indeed. Gu Lin, go and ask the elders if they have any good ideas. EU said to Gu Lin, asking him to ask for the elders' opinion. Gu Lin got up and left the passage. He went back and told the elders about the situation. EU's cultivation was at the 4th stage, so he couldn't go out. The Great Elder's view was the same as Knight Sorrow's. If they retreated, the scattered disciples of the Medicine Valley would be unlucky. The Medicine Valley couldn't abandon any of its disciples. The war finally came. 3 days after Knight Sorrow's judgment, more than 40 people from the Red Cloud sect came. There were many disciples of the Red Cloud sect who entered the Void Fiend space, but they were scattered after entering. It was not easy to gather so many people in a limited time. Moreover, 3 of them broke through to the Spirit Severing stage, which was an amazing ratio. This was the foundation of a super force that had been passed down for thousands of years. The more disciples there were, the more core condensation stage disciples there were. Hundreds of core condensation stage disciples could break through normally, and the proportion of disciples who broke through by force was high. Who is Knight Sorrow? Hand over the resources we got this time, and we will retreat. Otherwise, the disciples of the Medicine Valley will be unlucky. A man in brocade clothes walked at the front and said, I am Knight Sorrow. I will take whatever moves you have. Knight Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and said, We've already given out all the resources, so you can just give up on it. If you want to fight, we'll play with you. Love, go Blittle say, Ku-EU said coldly. If you don't send the resources in, then I'll kill you until you do. Remember, I'm Qi Xian of the Scarlet Cloud sect. Kill. When Qi Xian heard that Knight Sorrow and the others had given out the resources, he immediately lost his mind and gave the order to kill. EU, all of you stick together. If you can't hold on, just leave. Knight Sorrow ignored Qi Xian. He executed the soaring dragon steps and circled around him. Brandishing his reincarnation spear, he charged toward the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. Knight Sorrow wanted to stop killing with killing. If he were to fight with Qi Xian, the other disciples of the Red Cloud sect would surround and attack the disciples of the Medicine Valley. It would be a scene of devastation. Knight Sorrow's reincarnation spear, which had a strength of over 20,000 gene, shook off a Scarlet Cloud sect disciple's weapon. With a swing of the reincarnation spear, the disciple was beheaded. The second Scarlet Cloud sect disciple couldn't withstand Knight Sorrow's reincarnation spear. His weapon was broken and his head was chopped into pieces. Knight Sorrow's continuous killing shocked Qi Xian and the other 2 Spirit Severing stage Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. They didn't care about attacking EU and the others and directly chased after Knight Sorrow. If they ignored Knight Sorrow, Qi Xian and the others could kill EU and the others. However, if they did that, most of the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples would be killed by Knight Sorrow. In the end, the loss outweighed the gain. Knight Sorrow didn't fight with Qi Xian and the other 2 4th-stage Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. He executed the soaring dragon steps and killed the other Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. When Knight Sorrow's energy and true Qi were fully unleashed, none of the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples could withstand 2 moves. They were all killed in the second move. After a few rounds, 7 or 8 people were killed by Knight Sorrow. The Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples' faces changed. They had never seen such a ferocious core condensation cultivator. Chen Dong, you block the front. Qi Zhonglia, you go to the side. Qi Xian's eyes were blood red. He chased after Knight Sorrow. He hated Knight Sorrow's ruthlessness. He didn't show any mercy and killed some of the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. Knight Sorrow didn't want to fight them head-on. He turned around and continued to chase after the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. This time, Knight Sorrow was chasing after Shang Qiu. He knew that Shang Qiu was the one who caused all this trouble. Shang Qiu already knew of Knight Sorrow's tyranny, so he immediately ran. Knight Sorrow pulled out the sky-piercing spear and threw it with all his might. It pierced through Shang Qiu's waist and nailed him to a huge rock. After dodging Chen Dong's slash, Knight Sorrow continued to chase after the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. At this time, EU and the others were no longer fighting. The Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples were in a mess because of Knight Sorrow's pursuit. How could they have the energy to fight? They all ran to the side. Knight Sorrow knew that the Scarlet Cloud sect had Scarlet Cloud needles. He didn't want to separate from the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. He didn't want to give them a chance to use the needles unless they didn't distinguish between friend and foe. What Knight Sorrow didn't know was that the Scarlet Cloud sect's Scarlet Cloud needles were extremely difficult to make. Only the true core disciples or disciples with great potential were qualified to use them. Currently, only Qi Xian and Qi Zhonglia were qualified to use them. After Night Sorrow killed 16 or 17 people, the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples ran behind Qi Xian, Qi Zhonglia, and Chen Dong. If they ran away, they would be killed by Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, Qi Xian, Qi Zhonglia, and Chen Dong were facing each other. Qi Xian reached into his chest. Scarlet Cloud Needles? I have one too. Night Sorrow took out the Scarlet Cloud Needles he got last time. When Qi Xian touched his chest, Night Sorrow knew what he was going to do. How can you have Scarlet Cloud Needles? Qi Xian's expression changed drastically. He looked at Night Sorrow in shock. Don't play dirty with me. Is Scarlet Cloud Needles poisonous? Have you heard of bone rot poison? If you dare to use it, I won't hesitate to kill you, Night Sorrow said coldly. Qi Xian, Chen Dong, and Qi Zhonglia looked at each other. Qi Xian took out his hand. Qi Xian held it out with his palm facing up so that Yi Shang could see it clearly. He knew Yi Shang's words were not a threat. If you dare to come, then I dare to kill. Unless I fall, I will kill a pair of Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples for every Medicine Valley disciple you kill. Night Sorrow put the Scarlet Cloud Needles on his waist. Kill! When Night Sorrow put away the Scarlet Cloud Needles, Qi Xian, Chen Dong, and Qi Zhonglia waved their weapons and charged at Night Sorrow. This was their chance to surround and kill Night Sorrow. E7 Forever XN Forever /free V, read_o novel. Night Sorrow took a deep breath. He stomped his feet and jumped into the air. He threw his spear at Qi Xian. Qi Xian's saber slashed horizontally at the reincarnation spear. He did not want to take it head-on. However, if he dodged, Night Sorrow would rush into the crowd of Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples and kill them like a tiger in a flock of sheep. Currently, other than the three of them, no one could stop Night Sorrow's attack. Seeing Qi Xian block with his saber, Night Sorrow increased his vibration force to the maximum. Then, he activated his Black Jade Spirit Qi. He wanted to defeat Qi Xian. If Qi Xian blocked him, then he would be surrounded by Qi Xian, Chen Dong, and Qi Zhonglia. The remaining Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples could then kill Yu and the others. Bang! With a muffled sound, Qi Xian's saber was knocked away. At the same time, his body was covered in a layer of frost. His eyes were filled with shock. Night Sorrow took a step forward and swung his spear at Qi Xian's neck. At the same time, his left hand slapped at Chen Dong's saber that was coming at his left shoulder. Chapter 292. Genius Remembers Love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and slashed Qi Xian's throat, who was affected by the mysterious Jade Spirit Qi. His left hand also slapped Chen Dong's blade. At the same time, Qi Zhonglia's leg also kicked Night Sorrow's waist. Crisp and muffled sounds rang out continuously. Chen Dong's battle blade was blocked by Yi Shang's left hand that was wearing the Azure Claw glove. Qi Zhonglia's kick that landed on Yi Shang's abdomen seemed to have struck leather. Night Sorrow was pushed back 5 or 6 steps. He circulated the myriad Dao Tome's energy, and the pain and discomfort from his abdomen disappeared. This was the power of the myriad Dao Tome. Night Sorrow's flesh, tendons, and ribs were all abnormally strengthened. Qi Zhonglia's hurried kick did not cause any damage to Night Sorrow. Qi Xian fell. His eyes were filled with unwillingness. He was already in the 4th rank. His future should be very exciting. How could he die here? Chen Dong and Qi Zhonglia stood next to Qi Xian's corpse. Their eyes were filled with shock. Qi Xian was the strongest among the 3 of them. But now he was killed. What shocked them was that Night Sorrow, who was kicked, seemed to be fine. Taking a deep breath, Night Sorrow charged toward Qi Zhonglia. His reincarnation spear was like a dragon piercing toward Qi Zhonglia's chest. Qi Zhonglia's body flashed. He dodged to the side of Night Sorrow. His blade slashed toward Night Sorrow's left arm. At this time, Qi Zhonglia did not dare to take Night Sorrow's attack head-on. Qi Xian was an example. Using the soaring dragon steps, Night Sorrow dodged Qi Zhonglia's blade. His reincarnation spear was wide open. He waved his hand and smashed toward Chen Dong. Even Qi Zhonglia retreated. Of course, Chen Dong did not dare to take Night Sorrow's attack head-on. He was afraid that the situation with Qi Xian would happen again. That kind of strange cold air that could freeze people was fatal. After forcing Chen Dong and Qi Zhonglia back, Night Sorrow charged towards the Scarlet Cloud sect disciples behind them and continued his massacre. When Night Sorrow rushed in again, the disciples of the Scarlet Cloud sect quickly scattered like birds and beasts. They couldn't understand Night Sorrow's brutality. At this moment, Night Sorrow, whose white robes were stained with blood, was like a god of death. Whoever stood in his way would die. Qi Zhonglie and Chen Dong chased from behind as they shouted for the sect members to retreat. There was no victory to speak of in this battle. Night Sorrow turned around and stabbed his spear towards Qi Zhonglie. At the same time, he shouted for EU and the others to attack. Facing Night Sorrow's fierce spear, Qi Zhonglie's expression changed. He raised his sword to block. Ding! A crisp sound rang out. Qi Zhonglie's sword was knocked away by Night Sorrow. After knocking away Qi Zhonglie's sword, Night Sorrow swung his reincarnation spear towards Chen Dong, who was attacking from the side. At the same time, his left hand slapped towards Qi Zhonglie's chest. Qi Zhonglie roared. His left hand punched towards Night Sorrow's left hand. He was afraid of Night Sorrow's spear techniques, but he was not afraid of fist techniques. The moment Qi Zhonglie punched, a faint red energy vortex appeared on Night Sorrow's left hand. Seeing Qi Zhonglie punch, Night Sorrow attacked with all his strength. He used Vajra hand. Bang! A muffled sound rang out. Everything below Qi Zhonglie's left arm disappeared. There was a huge gap between him and Lei Bao. Their true energy levels were not on the same level. He also did not have Lei Bao's battle experience. Therefore, when facing Night Sorrow's Vajra hand, Lei Bao was only slightly injured. Qi Zhonglie had lost an arm. After losing Qi Zhonglie's arm, Night Sorrow decided to first deal with the threat of Chen Dong and then kill Qi Zhonglie. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. When he looked at Chen Dong again, Night Sorrow was surprised. Chen Dong had stopped fighting. He turned around and ran. He actually abandoned Qi Zhonglie and ran. He also did not care about the other disciples who were being attacked by EU and the others. He directly ran towards the forest in the distance. Love, go little, say. Network. Night Sorrow turned around and continued to violently attack with 3 spear attacks. He killed Qi Zhonglie, who had lost an arm. Qi Zhonglie died very sullenly. In the end, he wanted to use Scarlet Cloud Needles, but he did not have the chance. Night Sorrow attacked again and again. His right hand was holding onto his sword to block, so he did not have the chance to use Scarlet Cloud Needles. After killing Qi Zhonglie, Yi Shang glanced at the battle situation. The Medicine Valley disciples led by EU already had the absolute advantage. The main reason was that the Scarlet Cloud sect disciples had already lost their momentum after being killed by Yi Shang. At this moment, Yi Shang felt powerless. After the battle began, Night Sorrow attacked with all his might. He always pursued the highest damage. Although he was not injured, he was very tired. Soon, the battle was over. The Scarlet Cloud sect disciples all ran away. A crazy Night Sorrow was unbeatable to them. If Night Sorrow did not fall, then they had no chance of winning. The strongest Qi Xian and Qi Zhonglie had been killed. Chen Dong had run away. What could they, who had not reached rank 4, do? After the battle was over, EU and the others cleaned up the battlefield. Then they came to Night Sorrow and placed 2 storage rings, a pile of beast-taming crystals, and some storage belts in front of Night Sorrow. Thank you. EU bowed. He knew that without Night Sorrow, the Scarlet Cloud sect would have slaughtered the Medicine Valley disciples. Night Sorrow raised his head. You can divide them among yourselves. Martial uncle, are you all right? Seeing Night Sorrow's pale face, Gu Lin asked worriedly. I'm fine. I just used up a lot of energy. Night Sorrow waved his hand. Night Sorrow, actually I should call you junior brother. You earned these resources. We just shouted loudly and didn't do anything. You can keep them. EU said. EU's master was an elder of Wuwei Peak. He was from the same generation as Yu Yongyu. Since EU joined the sect earlier than Night Sorrow, he was the senior brother. Senior brother EU, distribute the spoils to everyone. Also, everyone should take the time to rest. This is only the Scarlet Cloud sect. We don't know if there will be other forces coming. If you feel that you can't hold on any longer, leave. The battle might have just begun, Yishan said. EU looked at the resources at his feet and picked up a pile of storage belts. Let's divide these. Martial uncle, you must keep the rest. Knight Sorrow nodded as he looked at the group of Medicine Valley disciples. Haha. If you follow Martial Uncle Yi, you'll be able to eat and drink well, Gu Lin said with a smile. Martial Uncle Knight. I'm sorry. Our Tianyue Peak has caused trouble for you. A Tianyue Peak disciple stepped forward. He was one of the people caught by Lei Bao. Lin Tianjue is Lin Tianjue. This has nothing to do with Tianyue Peak. You are a good disciple of Medicine Valley for staying and fighting. What's your name? Knight Sorrow asked. Martial Uncle, my name is Jiang Han. Jiang Han bowed. You know what happened. When you return, explain to Peak Master Jin and senior brother Luo Daoyuan that Lin Tianjue was killed by Lei Bao. Even if Lei Bao didn't kill him, I wouldn't have kept him alive. Knight Sorrow said. I understand. Jiang Han nodded and left. Chapter 293. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go divided by Xiao? We provide you with interesting novels to read. On the other side, EU asked Gu Lin to report the battle to the Great Elder. Baidu search AI Go female sign Xiao, say www.aichuxs. Some after Gu Lin returned, he informed Knight Sorrow, the Great Elder, the Valley Master, and the others to let Knight Sorrow go out. Knight Sorrow didn't have time to change his clothes, so he didn't care about etiquette. He walked out of the passageway in his blood-stained battle robe. Many people gathered at the passageway. Yu Yongyu and the people from Taishan Peak were all there. Knight Sorrow, are you hurt? Sikong Chuyu ran to Knight Sorrow and held his hand, looking him up and down nervously. No, it's all other people's blood, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Are you really okay? Yang Lei also walked to Knight Sorrow and asked. Ninth senior sister, I'm really okay. Knight Sorrow turned his body to show Yang Lei that he wasn't hurt. 13. Can you still hold on? If you can't, then retreat. There aren't many disciples from Medicine Valley who haven't returned, the Great Elder said. Not bad. You've done very well. You can choose to come back, Yu Yongyu said. There are still disciples from Medicine Valley who haven't returned. If we retreat, we'll be abandoning them. They'll be disappointed, Knight Sorrow said. Yu Yongyu, the Great Elder, and the others nodded. They all knew that Knight Sorrow and the others were abandoning some disciples if they retreated. Ninth senior sister. Here are some beast-taming crystals. Take them back and distribute them to the disciples of Taishan Peak. Knight Sorrow took out a handful of beast-taming crystals. There were at least 20 of them and he gave them to Yang Lei. Okay. Yang Lei was not pretentious. She knew that Knight Sorrow did not need this. Chuyu, don't worry. I'm fine. Knight Sorrow looked at Sikong Chuyu, whose eyes were filled with worry. Then go. I'll wait for you here. Sikong Chuyu nodded. Knight Sorrow nodded and returned to the spatial tunnel. With a core condensation cultivation base, he killed 2 severed divinity cultivators and more than 20 late core condensation cultivators. This battle record will forever be recorded in the annals of history. Yi Xiling from Crepe Myrtle said. Her eyes were filled with regret because Knight Sorrow was not a disciple of Crepe Myrtle. Baidu search AI Go female sign Xiao, say www.aichuxs.com. The other peak masters who arrived also looked at Gong Xian and Yang Lei with envy. After returning to the void space, Knight Sorrow looked at the female disciples of Crepe Myrtle and rode Tianyu to find a water source to wash up. After changing into a clean robe, he went to the entrance of the spatial tunnel. The entrance of the spatial tunnel was very lively. Some people were roasting prey. Some people even took out wine. Seeing Knight Sorrow come back, everyone greeted him. Knight Sorrow nodded and found a place to sit down. Next, there will be a month of danger. Red Cloud sect was the first to receive the news. They can gather some disciples. The other sects will receive the news later and come to find trouble with us. Plus, they might not have enough time to go back. If they don't gather enough people, they won't dare to block our path. EU said. In other words, if we guard this place for another month and there are no problems, then there will be no problems at all? Jiang Han asked. That should be the case. Knight Sorrow nodded and took the roasted meat from a female disciple of Crepe Myrtle. After eating and drinking, except for those on duty, Everyone sat down to cultivate. Night Sorrow checked Qi Zhonglia and Qi Xian's storage rings and found that their collection was quite rich. There were also some new resources, spiritual herbs, and 2 red cloud needles. Qi Xian's storage ring also had a green organ. Night Sorrow could feel that this ore was not simple, but there was no such ore in the Fey encyclopedia. After tidying up his things, Yi Shang sat down to cultivate. Time passed slowly, and some of the disciples of Medicine Valley also returned. When they found out that Night Sorrow and the others were guarding the path and had a big battle with the Red Cloud sect, they were willing to share some of their loot, but no one took it. 5 days later, the disciples of the Thunder Rumbling sect came. It was a man in black with less than 20 people. Wait. Seeing that the disciples of Medicine Valley were about to fight, the leading man in black waved his hand. What do you want to say? Night Sorrow took 2 steps forward with the reincarnation spear. If we fight as a group, both sides will suffer. It won't be good for either side. You should be Night Sorrow. I heard that you killed Qi Xian and Qi Zhonglia from the Red Cloud sect. Let's fight one-on-one. The man in black looked at Night Sorrow and said, Sure. I want to ask, where did you get the news? Night Sorrow asked. The man in black glanced at the disciples of Medicine Valley who were full of fighting spirit and said, Someone from the same sect. You also met the disciples of the Red Cloud sect. It seems like you are prepared. If you want to fight with me, then there should be a bet. Say it. Night Sorrow waved the reincarnation spear and said. He felt that the people of the Thunder Rumbling sect were overbearing, but they were very direct. Lei Bao was like that, and so was this young man in black. I heard that you got a treasure on the Lonely Peak. This is an opportunity. However, the opportunity is in your hands now. If you lose, take out half of the opportunity and I will leave. If I lose then, I have never thought about it. The man in black hesitated and said, If you lose you can leave. In addition, if you meet the disciples of the Medicine Valley in this space, don't make it difficult for them. Night Sorrow said, Okay. My name is Lei Zheng. I won't take advantage of you. This Tranquil Heartstone and my Thunderbird mount are yours if you win. Also, listen carefully. If I, Lei Zheng, lose, in this space, if you see the disciples of the Medicine Valley, you must stay away. The young man in black, who was Lei Zheng, waved the broadsword in his hand and said. Night Sorrow waved his hand and asked the disciples of the Medicine Valley to retreat. Then, he gestured to Lei Zheng. Lei Zheng leaped up and waved the broadsword in his right hand, facing Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow understood that the disciples of the Thunder Rumbling sect fought in a direct confrontation. Their weapons were also broadswords and heavy swords. Without hesitation, Night Sorrow thrust his reincarnation spear forward. At the same time, he also used the vibration force. Ding! When the weapons collided, Night Sorrow retreated 2 steps while Lei Zheng retreated 4 to 5 steps. Night Sorrow squinted his eyes and looked at Lei Zheng. He realized that Lei Zheng's true qi exerting method was different from Lei Bao's. It was a technique that was soft first and then violent. Very strong. Again. Lei Zheng glanced at Night Sorrow and attacked again. Night Sorrow used the vibration force and waved his reincarnation spear to attack. Every time he attacked, he would force Lei Ming to retreat a few steps, completely suppressing him. The 2 of them attacked each other, one advancing and one retreating. Although Lei Zheng couldn't restrain Night Sorrow's vibration force, Night Sorrow couldn't defeat Lei Zheng with the vibration force. Watch my purple thunder sword art. Lei Zheng roared. Purple energy appeared on his broadsword and slashed towards Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Knowing that this was Lei Zheng's ultimate move, Night Sorrow instantly activated the profound jade spirit chi hidden in his hands. Bang! When the weapons collided, Night Sorrow retreated 4 steps. His arms were numb, as if he was struck by lightning. Lei Zheng was in an even worse state. His entire body was covered in frost. Night Sorrow's bone-forging realm level 6 energy burst forth from the myriad Dao tome. After dispelling the numbness, he used the soaring dragon steps and instantly rushed in front of Lei Zheng. Before Lei Zheng could react, the reincarnation spear was placed on his neck. I lost. Lei Ming said as he wiped the frost off his hair and face. X forever free. Read *novel*. Just like Lei Bao, you are a real man. You can afford to lose. Night Sorrow said as he retreated a few steps. Chapter 294. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? I will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Why do you say that? Knight Sorrow was a little puzzled. I'm not Brother Bao's opponent. Knowing that you defeated Brother Bao, I won't come. The news is really deceiving. Lei Zhang was depressed. Ignoring the value of the Tranquil Heartstone, he couldn't bear to part with his Thunderbird. The Thunderbird was an intelligent flying beast at the peak of the 3rd rank. Most importantly, it had been with him for a long time. You didn't ask me. Yi Shang was speechless. This disciple of the Thunder Rumbling sect was really straightforward. Lei Zhang took out the beast-taming crystal. His eyes were full of reluctance, but he still put it beside the Tranquil Heartstone and took a few steps back. It's all yours. Knight Sorrow stepped forward and put away the Tranquil Heartstone. After looking at the beast-taming crystal for a while, he threw it to Lei Zhang, whose eyes never left the crystal. I told Lei Bao that we will be friends when we meet again. You call him Brother Bao, so it's obviously not nice of me to take you as my mount. After catching the beast-taming crystal, Lei Zhang's face was full of joy. We will also be friends in the future. As long as you, Knight Sorrow, come to the Thunder Clan, you will be my most distinguished guest. Okay, if you come to the Medicine Valley, don't forget to look for me. I will treat you with good wine and meat. Knight Sorrow nodded. Lei Zhang cupped his hands towards Knight Sorrow and then turned around. Brothers, let's go. We can't beat them and almost suffered a double loss. Let's go take care of others. The Thunder Rumbling sect's disciples followed Lei Zhang. Some of them even cupped their hands towards Yi Shang. Damn, the Thunder Clan disciples are too cute. Lei Zhang is so handsome. He's a real man. Crepe Myrtle disciple Li Lin said. This is because we have strength. If we don't have strength, we will be bullied to death. Handsome, real man? That depends on Martial Uncle Yi. Gu Lin said. But I heard that Martial Uncle Knight Sorrow already has someone in his heart. Even Martial Uncle Lin Jingyi doesn't have a chance. Li Lin glanced at Knight Sorrow and said. The dispute between Knight Sorrow and Crepe Myrtle was no longer a secret. Everyone in Medicine Valley knew about it. Gu Lin shook his head helplessly. He could not answer this question. In the following days, the entrance of Medicine Valley was quiet. What Knight Sorrow did not know was that Lei Zhang had helped him fend off a wave of enemies. When Lei Zhang and the others were some distance away from the entrance of the Medicine Valley, they met a group of disciples of the Golden Flame sect, led by Su Wang and Su Yuan, who were approaching the entrance of the Medicine Valley. With one look, Lei Zhang knew what was going on. Love, go little, say, Ku. Thinking that Knight Sorrow did not want his Thunderbird, Lei Zhang decided to do Knight Sorrow a favor. He directly defeated Su Wang and the others, severely injuring the disciples of the Golden Flame sect. Lei Zhang lost to Knight Sorrow because his dual polarity force was restrained by Knight Sorrow's vibration scripture. However, it was not a problem for him to deal with Su Wang and the others. The disciples of the Thunder Clan were also very united and had strong combat power. After a chaotic battle, Lei Zhang severely injured Su Wang and forced him to retreat. He also confiscated the resources of the disciples of the Golden Flame sect. Haha, a person should be loyal. Good intentions will be rewarded. After the brothers divide, let's continue to rob. There will be a lot of fat sheep coming to the Medicine Valley. Lei Zhang was in a particularly good mood. Brother Zhang, speaking of which, we have to thank Lei Jing. If he didn't tell us this news, we wouldn't know what happened here, a disciple of the Thunder Clan said. Bull ****. This time, I was almost killed by him. He knew that Brother Bao was defeated, but he still made this news. Isn't he trying to scam me? But it's also true. If he said it, Brother Bao would lose face. Let's not talk about it. Let's continue to look for fat sheep. Lei Zhang was in high spirits. The income from robbing was much better than looking for resources by himself. Baidu search AI Go female sign Xiao, say www.aichuxs. Some after quietly waiting at the entrance of the passage for a month without any battles, Knight Sorrow, EU, and the others discussed and decided that there was no need for them to stay here any longer. They could do whatever they needed to do because the people from the other regions wouldn't come over anymore. That way, they wouldn't have enough time to return. Many people had gone to look for resources. Knight Sorrow pondered for a while before leaving the void fiendish space. He did not want to waste any more time. He did not believe that there would be any great opportunities. After all, even the space origin pearl was in his dantian. Even if there were opportunities left, they would be small opportunities. Only a few disciples of the Medicine Valley chose to go out. The others still had to look for opportunities. Suck, knowing that Night Sorrow didn't want to stay in the void fiendish space any longer, the first elder was a bit unwilling. They had survived the danger and there was no more danger, but Night Sorrow still wanted to come out. Great Elder, this depends on the individual's wishes. If 13 is unwilling, then don't force him. He also needs to prepare to advance to the spirit severing stage. Lu Chenyun said with a smile. He was extremely satisfied with Night Sorrow's performance this time because Night Sorrow had fought to the end for the disciples of the Medicine Valley. Night Sorrow took out the green ore he had stolen from Qi Xian and gave it to Big Elder, Yu Yongyu, and the others to identify. The higher-ups present all looked at it, but they couldn't recognize what ore it was. However, they all felt that it wasn't normal. Then Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, and Sikong Chuyu left. The relationship between the three of them was not a secret in the Medicine Valley. Many people were envious of them. There was no need to talk about Sikong Chuyu. She was agile and refined like a fairy. It was fate that brought Sikong Chuyu and Yi Shang together. No one could be envious of them. But what about Yang Lei? She was the one that many second-generation disciples of the Medicine Valley had been thinking about. Unexpectedly, Night Sorrow also got her. This was puzzling. Great Elder, what do you think of Lin Tianjue? After Night Sorrow left, Yu Yongyu looked at Big Elder. This is the fault of Tianyue Peak's Elder Lin and Luo Daoyuan. But he is already dead, so forget it. Big Elder sighed with some disappointment. This time, Lin Tianjue really made the Medicine Valley lose face and almost brought a disaster to the disciples of the Medicine Valley in the alternate dimension. If it wasn't for Night Sorrow's efforts to turn the tide, the Medicine Valley would have suffered heavy losses. It could even be said that there would be a generation gap. If all the outstanding disciples of the core condensation realm were killed, then the Medicine Valley would have lost a generation in the future. I won't pursue this matter. Tell Tianyue Peak's Elder Lin, Luo Daoyuan, and the others that if anyone dares to vent their anger on Night Sorrow because of Lin Tianjue, I won't be lenient. Yu Yongyu said and left. Gong Xian looked at Big Elder and Fourth Elder, then left with the people of Taishan Peak. The Valley Master's temper has become more restrained. This is the blessing of Tianyue Peak. Big Elder, you should arrange it well. If Elder Lin, Peak Master Jean, or Luo Daoyuan do anything bad, then it will be a big trouble for the Medicine Valley. At that time, even if the Valley Master doesn't say anything, the Taishan Peak won't let it go. Lu Chenyun said. Then, Fourth Elder and the other elders will look after this place. I will go to Tianyue Peak. Big Elder said to the others, then got up and left. This matter was very big. Yu Yongyu showed mercy. As the Big Elder, he had to deal with it well. Otherwise, this matter would be the fuse for the outbreak of conflicts. When Big Elder arrived at Tianyue Peak, he saw Jean Can and two other elders of Tianyue Peak in the Tianyue Hall. Seeing the arrival of Big Elder, Jean Can and the others all got up and saluted, then let Big Elder sit in the main seat. As the Big Elder, I have something to deal with. Invite Elder Lin and Luo Daoyuan here. Big Elder sat down and said while tapping his crutch on the ground. There were even level 6 spirit herbs. There were also many rare ores. 13, you're rich this time. Yang Lei was so excited that her face turned red. 9th senior sister, these aren't my biggest gains. The three of us are going to be a family in the future. Let me show you the real gains. Night Sorrow took out the top-grade spirit stones and high-grade spirit stones. The bamboo building's living room was filled with the light of crystals. There were hundreds of top-grade spirit stones and thousands of high-grade spirit stones. How is this possible? Yang Lei was a little confused. Even the super forces might not have so many in stock. Night Sorrow, you have too much capital. Sikong Chuyu was also astonished when he saw the crystals. You too, quickly keep some of them. Both of you have advanced to the 5th grade. You can use high-grade spirit stones to cultivate. Night Sorrow urged Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. All right. We'll be yours sooner or later. Just take it as a betrothal gift. Yang Lei blushed and took 100 high-grade spirit stones. Sikong Chuyu also felt a little embarrassed after hearing Yang Lei's words. However, he also took 100 high-grade spirit stones. She had advanced to the 5th grade a month ago and was currently the youngest Void Inquiry stage cultivator in this area. Night Sorrow kept the remaining spirit stones into his storage ring. Come. Let's admire some good stuff. I'll share some with you. Night Sorrow took out the spiritual spring liquid and opened the jar. This is much denser than the spiritual liquid in the medicinal cauldron. He actually used a wine jar to store it? Yang Lei was a little speechless. Night Sorrow's actions had subverted her beliefs. Store some for each of you. Tomorrow, give some to senior brothers and sisters too. Night Sorrow said. You have to keep enough for yourself. Just give some to each of you. Yang Lei was thinking for Night Sorrow's sake. She also helped Night Sorrow to store more than 10 small bottles of Origin spiritual liquid. After that, Night Sorrow gave Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu 2 bottles each. Ninth senior sister, Chuyu, if you need any spirit stones or spiritual liquid in the future, just call me. Night Sorrow filled a few small bottles of Origin spiritual liquid as backup. Only then did he keep the remaining half of the jar. He still had another full jar. We won't stand on ceremony with you. When we have time, we'll get a jade jar to store it. Yang Lei said. I have something else to ask you. Do you know what attributes there are in heaven and earth? Night Sorrow asked. Earth, water, wind, fire, lightning, light, and darkness. These are the 7 most common attributes. The rare and high-grade attributes are life, death, space, and time. The top-grade attributes are destruction, void, and so on. Of course, there is a possibility for the attributes to evolve. The Earth attribute can evolve into gravity and space. If it continues to evolve, it will become the space attribute. The water attribute can evolve into the life attribute, while the darkness attribute can evolve into the death attribute. These are all recorded in the ancient books. Sikong Chuyu said. I obtained an origin stone this time. Ninth senior sister doesn't have one that matches your attribute. Chuyu has one that matches your attribute, but I can't give it to you for the time being. I promised someone that I would lend it to them for a period of time. Night Sorrow said. What did you say? You obtained an origin stone? Sikong Chuyu wasn't the only one who stood up. Yang Lei was also excited. Sit down. Sit down. Night Sorrow pushed Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu into chairs. Then, he took out the fire and water attribute origin stones. When he opened the jade box, a rich energy fluctuation was produced. Sikong Chuyu reached out and closed the box. Night Sorrow, this is a great opportunity, but it's also a disaster. If this were to spread, it would cause a chaotic war in the 9 regions. This is because source stones are the best medium for venerables to break through to the Saint Realm. I know. I will only tell the 2 of you. Night Sorrow said. Who do you want to lend the origin stone to? Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow and asked. First of all, it is a senior from the Ice Snow Mountain in the Far East Icefield. I promised her. She said that she would only lend it to me. In addition, she is willing to give me a spirit weapon as the price. I don't care about the spirit weapon, but since I promised her, I will do my best. Night Sorrow said. A peerless expert from a forbidden land. It seems that the rumors are not true. Such a person wouldn't kill for the treasure. Sikong Chuyu nodded. Chapter 296. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. That shouldn't be a problem either. Sikong Chuyu said to Yishan. Let's go, said Sikong Chuyu to Yishan. Let's not talk about the fire-type origin stone for now. There is another piece. Take a look at its attribute. Night Sorrow put away the fire-type origin stone. He then brought out the killing energy origin bead. When the box was opened, a dense baleful aura and blood-red energy appeared in the bamboo building. After Sikong Chuyu and Yang Lei felt it, Sikong Chuyu reached out and closed the box. This is beyond the concept of origin stones. Could it be spatial origin? Sikong Chuyu was a little surprised as he looked at Night Sorrow in disbelief. Most are new chapter E above. That's right. It's one of the space origins, but I don't know what attribute it is, Night Sorrow said. There is a trace of destructive aura mixed with a very strong baleful aura. Could it be that you have entered a space of destruction? Sikong Chuyu said with some uncertainty. She had read a lot of classics and was better than Yang Lei in this aspect. It's not the destruction space. In fact, this isn't the real space origin. It's just a subsidiary. The real space origin is with me. Night Sorrow smiled bitterly and pointed at his stomach. What do you mean? Yang Lei asked. Night Sorrow then told him what happened after he went to Lonely Peak. You're taking too much risk. Fortunately, such supreme treasures have their own spirituality. If you are not the chosen one, you will not be able to obtain the space origin. A single energy attack from the space origin can destroy you, the Sikong Chuyu said. Chuyu, do you mean that the void space origin bead will not harm 13? Yang Lei asked worriedly. If you want to hurt him, you should have blown up Night Sorrow back then. Entering his body is also a form of recognition, Sikong Chuyu said. Then it's fine. However, I don't feel that its existence is of any help to me, Night Sorrow said. You currently don't have the ability to recognize a master. If you can, then you will be the master of that space, the master of that space. On the day you truly control the space origin bead, the entire space will be your private territory. Sikong Chuyu threw out words that shocked Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. Is it that serious? Yang Lei couldn't believe her ears. Of course. So, don't mention this matter in the future. Just pretend that it never happened. Night Sorrow, the treasures on you now are enough for the experts of the 9 zones to kill you hundreds of times. Sikong Chuyu said. Then it's settled. 13. Don't tell anyone about the origin bead and origin stone. Don't even tell Master and the Great Elder. After all, they are still far away from the Sage Realm. Yang Lei made the decision for Night Sorrow. All right. I'll listen to everything you say. Night Sorrow nodded. After packing up, the 3 of them slowly drank tea. 13. You scared me to death. I can't even calm down now, Yang Lei said as she patted her chest. Indeed, Night Sorrow, the things you got this time are truly frightening. My heart is also thumping. Love, go little say, Sikong Chuyu said. It's a water origin stone. I'll give it to Chuyu after I finish using it. 9th senior sister, I'm sorry about this, Night Sorrow said apologetically. What are you saying, you bastard? Aren't we family? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow grumpily. After eating, the 3 of them rested. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu didn't let Night Sorrow continue cultivating. They watched Night Sorrow sleep. The next day, Mo Chan and Chu Lingfei came to call Night Sorrow because the senior brothers and sisters were going to have a gathering. Night Sorrow, Chu Lingfei, and Chu Lingfei followed Mo Chen to the bamboo grove. Aoi's bamboo grove was the gathering place for you Yang Yu's disciples on Taishan Peak. This time, everyone was present. Aoi also took out the green carrot leopard bone wine. After drinking the wine, Night Sorrow took out the gifts he had prepared for his senior brothers and sisters. Each of them received a bottle of spiritual liquid of origin and 10 top-grade spirit stones. 13. You're rich, Mo Chen said as he opened the bottle of spiritual liquid of origin. I forgot about Sister Lingfei's share. 10 top-grade spirit stones. 2nd senior brother, 8th senior brother, and sister-in-law all have a share. Night Sorrow pushed the 10 top-grade spirit stones in front of Chu Lingfei. Then, he took out 20 top-grade spirit stones and handed them to Wu Qi and Shi Tianlin. Other than the newly married Mo Chen, only Wu Qi and Shi Tianlin were married among Yu Yang Yu's disciples. However, their wives didn't attend the gathering. After Mo Chen got married, he and Chu Lingfei lived together, so he came to the gathering. 9th junior sister, you have to keep an eye on 13. How many resources do you have to squander like this? Gong Xian looked at Yang Lei and said. This was decided by the 3 of us. Yang Lei said with a smile. As for the other things, Night Sorrow didn't tell everyone. Yang Lei also didn't let Night Sorrow talk about the elixirs. Although Aoi was studying alchemy, it wasn't appropriate to give it to Aoi. After the gathering, Night Sorrow said goodbye to Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu and went to Danding Cliff to cultivate. He was now at the middle stage of the 9th level of the core condensation realm. He wanted to raise his cultivation to the peak of the core condensation realm and then stabilize his cultivation to prepare for entering the spirit severing realm. The higher the cultivation level, the more energy was needed to raise the cultivation level. This was also the reason why it was difficult for high-level cultivators to raise their cultivation level. Night Sorrow rushed to 5,800 meters before he felt that the pressure was suitable for him. He could still continue, but he didn't think it was necessary. This place was very suitable for cultivating. Time slipped away bit by bit. Night Sorrow's cultivation level rapidly increased. He didn't know that the Eastern Profound Domain now knew the name Night Sorrow. As the people who entered the void fiendish space left, Night Sorrow's deeds and achievements spread. The Scarlet Cloud sect was the most infuriated because too many of their disciples had died at Yi Shang's hands. Qi Xian and Qi Zhonglia were direct disciples of the Scarlet Cloud sect. They had great potential and were worth cultivating. However, they were killed by Night Sorrow. In addition, Night Sorrow also killed more than 20 disciples at the peak of the core condensation realm. They were all good seedlings of this generation of the Scarlet Cloud sect. Night Sorrow's deeds were not only spread to the Scarlet Cloud sect, but also to the Holy Light Temple and the Southern Dipper sect. Although they didn't have any contact with Night Sorrow, they had fought with the people of the Scarlet Cloud sect and the Thunder Rumbling sect. Some of them even became friends. Naturally, they knew this news. The 7 superpowers of the Eastern Profound Domain also knew that the Medicine Valley of the Golden Flame sect was the biggest winner in the opening of the alternate space. A young man named Night Sorrow was the biggest winner. At the same time, they also knew about Night Sorrow's greatness. He fought against 3 severed divinity stage and dozens of core condensation realm cultivators alone. He killed 2 severed divinity stage cultivators and more than 20 peak core condensation realm cultivators. No one could surpass this record. On the top floor of the Tianji Tower in the Eastern Profound City, several people sat together and chatted. Supervisor Lon, Night Sorrow is not bad, right? He challenged dozens of people alone, killed 2 severed divinity stage cultivators, killed 1, and more than 20 core condensation realm cultivators. Isn't he worthy of the 2 stars? Lei Hui said with a smile. Chapter 297. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. What if he enters the divinity severing stage? Should we report it to the higher-ups directly? Yin Shui asked. If he can enter the divinity severing stage in 2 years, report it to the higher-ups. Such a talent can no longer be measured by ordinary standards. Focus on protecting him. This is an opportunity for your Eastern Profound Domain branch to gain face, Lan Yuxuan said. Okay, this guy should have no problem entering the divinity severing stage in 2 years, Lei Hui said. He had confidence in Night Sorrow. In addition, I'm going to the Medicine Valley, Lan Yuxuan said. Then I'll accompany you there, Yin Shui said. Okay, if there are some things that have good results, I need your cooperation. Lan Yuxuan nodded. Night Sorrow stayed at Danding Cliff and cultivated for more than 20 days. He raised his cultivation to the peak of the core formation stage before leaving Danding Cliff and returning to the bamboo forest peak. Yi Shang's cultivation was already saturated. What he needed now was to stabilize his cultivation and increase the cultivation of the Myriad Tao Treasured Tome. Currently, he still had a lot of dragon bone forging pills, enough for him to reach the 4th stage of the Myriad Tao Treasured Tome, the Consolidation Realm. Night Sorrow's days were very free and easy. His relationship with Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu was also warming up. Love, go little, say, ku forever. Long time % free to read 6Y novels. Disciples of the Medicine Valley often came to drink with Night Sorrow. In the past, it was only the Yuan roll. Now, both the Yuan roll and the elixir roll came. Night Sorrow didn't look down on anyone just because his cultivation was high. He thought that people who hit it off were friends. Night Sorrow took time to visit Qin Zhen. He left Tiger Eagle in Qin Zhen and left his remaining medicinal cauldron spiritual liquid to Qin Zhen. Qin Zhen also worked hard. His cultivation had reached the peak of the 8th level of the gathering element, and he had entered the top 20 of the Yuan roll. Nothing much happened. Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, and Sikong Chuyu returned to Danding City. He did not go to Tianji Tower. If Tianji Tower hadn't asked, Night Sorrow wouldn't have lent the Water Origin Stone to Tianji Tower. However, things were different from what he thought. On the third day after Night Sorrow returned to the Dragon Spring courtyard, Enforcer Dong came to the Dragon Spring courtyard and said that someone wanted to see him. Night Sorrow immediately knew what was going on. It was either Lan Yuxuan or Yin Shui. Night Sorrow couldn't refuse such a meeting, so he directly followed Enforcer Dong to Tianji Tower. In the room on the top floor of Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow saw Lan Yuxuan wearing a silver mask and Yin Shui taking off her mask. "Sit down. Let's have a chat," Lan Yuxuan said. Yi Shang nodded and sat down opposite the two of them. At the peak of the core condensation stage, your body's qi and blood are at the peak. If you can continue to improve, it won't take long for you to reach the level of essence qi smoke. In the 9 regions, there are people who cultivate their body, but their true qi attainment is not high. Only those who are over 100 years old can reach the level of essence qi smoke, and it's very rare. Yin Shui said, "Thank you for your praise, Chief Enforcer. This is also the reason why Tianji Tower is cultivating me," Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow casually chatted with Yin Shui, not talking about the alternate dimension. After half a quarter of an hour, Yin Shui looked at Lan Yuxuan helplessly. Because they didn't mention it, Night Sorrow didn't want to talk about it. Lan Yuxuan coughed twice. "You have a good harvest in the alternate dimension, right?" "It's not bad. It's not easy to snatch food from the tiger's mouth and fight with the Thunder Rumbling sect and Red Cloud sect," Night Sorrow said with a smile. "What about the Heaven's Mandate Stone?" Lan Yuxuan asked. She could see that Night Sorrow was very calm. If she didn't mention it, Night Sorrow wouldn't mention it. "Well, since the supervisor mentioned it, then let's talk about it." Night Sorrow didn't avoid the question since Lan Yuxuan mentioned it. "It seems that you really got it. Tianji Tower is willing to exchange it for anything you want." Lan Yuxuan was extremely shocked. She just wanted to give it a try. She didn't expect Night Sorrow to really have it. "The Heaven's Mandate Stone is priceless. I won't exchange it." Night Sorrow directly refused Lan Yuxuan's statement. Night Sorrow wanted to lend the Water Attribute Stone to Wu Lingfei. In the end, the Water Attribute Stone would belong to Sikong Chuyu. "You're right. The Heaven's Mandate Stone is priceless. If you borrow it for half a year, you'll get a spirit tool," Lan Yuxuan said. "I'll tell you what I want first. If you can accept it, then we can talk. I've promised someone to borrow the Water Attribute Stone first. She can borrow it without any harm. After that, we can carry out the transaction." Night Sorrow said. "No, absolutely not. Do you know the value of the Heaven's Mandate Stone? It's priceless. Even if Tianji Tower doesn't lend it to you, you can't lend it to others. It's a disaster." Lan Yuxuan slammed the table and said, "But I've promised her. I can't go back on my words," Night Sorrow said. At the same time, he knew that Lan Yuxuan was doing it for his own good. He also showed the generosity of Tianji Tower. "Night Sorrow, tell us what's going on first. Our Tianji Tower will only protect the core members. We don't have any malicious intentions." Yin Shui knew that the problem was serious. Only by understanding the whole story and the root of the problem could they solve it. Night Sorrow didn't hide anything and told her about the Eastern Snow Mountain in the Far East Icefield. "First of all, I've promised her. Also, I'm from the Eastern Xian Domain. I have to think for the Eastern Xian Domain. After all, she's one of the top fighters in the Eastern Xian Domain." "I see. I understand. I won't object," Lan Yuxuan said. "Thank you for your help. After this matter is resolved, you can take the Water Attribute Stone for half a year. As for the reward, although I want it, I'm also a member of Tianji Tower. I should do something for the Tianji Tower," Night Sorrow said. He felt that he owed Tianji Tower, so he didn't want to ask for anything. "You can keep the Water Attribute Stone. Tianji Tower doesn't need it urgently. How about this? Tianji Tower will owe you a request no higher than a spirit-grade stone. When you need the Destiny Stone, Tianji Tower will lend it to you for half a year." Lan Yuxuan made her decision. "I'll keep it. Aren't you afraid that I'll be killed and the Destiny Stone stolen?" Night Sorrow couldn't understand Tianji Tower's way of doing things. "Haha, I'm not worried. Tianji Tower won't do anything to its own people. However, if someone kills you, we'll avenge you. Once we kill them, we'll get the Destiny Stone back. There's no need to pay any price. Lan Yuxuan's voice carried a hint of laughter. Lan Yuxuan's words stunned Night Sorrow. This idea? This method? Simple and crude. But don't worry. You're a seedling that Tianji Tower has focused on nurturing. They won't let anyone touch you easily. Lan Yuxuan seemed to have guessed Night Sorrow's thoughts. I'd better hurry up and enter rank 4. Then, I'll find a place where there's no one and become a patrol. Night Sorrow said with some hesitation. That's fine. However, you don't have to worry about Tianji Tower's rule of having a patrol every 5 years. You can follow your own path. Your treatment won't change. Your status will exceed that of a patrol, Lan Yuxuan said. Chapter 298. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by shall? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. That's right. If you perform well, Tianji Tower will take special care of you. You don't have to serve as a mandatory patrol every 5 years, but you have the right to do so. Love divided by go divided by shall, say, www.aichux.com, Lan Yuxuan said. Then Night Sorrow is here. Thank you for your care. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Lan Yuxuan and Yin Shui. Haha. I want to thank you. You have made our Eastern Xian region's Celestial Peak Imperial Tower proud in front of the headquarters, Yin Shui said with a smile. You're too polite, Lord Protector. Night Sorrow bowed again. If you need anything, just tell us. Tianji Tower won't be stingy if we can help you. Love, Gog Xiao say, Lan Yuxuan said. Thank you again, lords, but I don't need it. Night Sorrow shook his head. He really didn't need anything. He had resources, but spiritual weapons weren't something that could be given out just because he needed them. Besides, he firmly believed that a man without desires would be strong. After chatting with Lan Yuxuan and Yin Shui for a while, Night Sorrow left. The discussion was quite pleasant. After watching Night Sorrow leave, Lan Yuxuan returned to her seat. This kind of person is the most difficult to control, and also the most terrifying. A man without desires would be strong. But fortunately, he has a grateful heart and has his own persistence. I especially appreciate what he said. As a person of Eastern Xian region, he should do his best for Eastern Xian region. I believe that in the future, he will also say that he is a person of Tianji Tower and will do his best for Tianji Tower, Yin Shui said. Yes, in the face of the pressure from the two of us, he can still persevere. It's very rare. Amazing. Lan Yuxuan said with some emotion. That's it. The supervisor is relieved, Yin Shui said. Chief Protector Silver Snow, I will return to the headquarters directly. Night Sorrow will definitely pass the 3-star assessment. In the future, he will be treated as a 3-star. We can't let other forces carry out the dragon slaying plan. The Source Stone is important to Tianji Tower, but he is even more important. Our Tianji Tower is based on people, Lan Yuxuan said. I understand. Yin Shui nodded. Soon after, Lan Yuxuan left. She had come to the Eastern Xian region to examine Night Sorrow's qualifications, and also to deal with the matter of the Water Origin Stone. Now, she had to return. Night Sorrow returned to the Dragon Spring Courtyard. How was it? Sikong Chuyu asked when he saw Night Sorrow return. There were no problems. It went very smoothly. They didn't force me to do anything, Night Sorrow said. He admired Tianji Tower's style. That's good. Sikong Chuyu nodded. After hearing Night Sorrow's answer, she and Yang Lei were relieved. I plan to go to the Far East Icefield to fulfill my promise. Night Sorrow said his decision. Let me accompany you to the Far East Icefield. Yang Lei said. No need. It will take a longer time this time. After all, I'm borrowing it. I have to wait for it to be used back. Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. It will take a long time. A long time. You can't go for the time being. Sikong Chuyu pondered for a moment and said. Why? Night Sorrow asked puzzledly. Because in the Tianji Tower Celestial Assessment, you have to prove your ability in the shortest time possible and enter the Severed Spirit stage as soon as possible. That way, your Celestial Assessment level will increase. You will be in the Far East Icefield for at least half a year. Even if you break through to the severed spirit stage as soon as you enter, your qualifications will be delayed and reduced. Sikong Chuyu said. In addition, your strength has increased. It will be safer in the Far East ice field. Yang Lei agreed with Sikong Chuyu's proposal. I'll listen to you. I'll go to Danding Cliff to consolidate my cultivation. If there's a suitable opportunity, I'll break through. Night Sorrow said. Okay, but you have to be confident before you break through. Don't be like your 11th senior brother who pursues the peak of the core condensation stage. In fact, when he entered the core condensation stage, a flaw appeared in his core pearl, so it took him a long time to consolidate it. Yang Lei said. I know. Then I'll go to Danding Cliff in the afternoon. Night Sorrow said. After staying with Sikong Chuyu and Yang Lei for a while, Night Sorrow rode the Tianyu and left. After arriving at Danding Peak and greeting Elder Su, Night Sorrow began to climb the cliff under Elder Su's surprised gaze. Soon, Night Sorrow climbed to a height of 5,800 meters. After recovering, Night Sorrow rushed to 5,900 meters. After entering the peak of the core condensation stage and the 6th level of the Myriad Tao Tome, Night Sorrow's strength increased greatly. At 5,900 meters, Night Sorrow's energy had just been depleted. Staying at an altitude of 5,900 meters, Night Sorrow began to recover his cultivation. New fastest up $2.3 at this time. Other people came to Danding Cliff to cultivate. When they saw Night Sorrow cultivating at 5,900 meters, they were shocked. Night Sorrow had already surpassed the record by 500 meters. This was simply unimaginable. Night Sorrow stayed on the 5,900-meter platform and did not move. After continuously consolidating his cultivation for half a month, Night Sorrow felt that it was really difficult to improve. Looking at the 6,000-meter platform, he got up and continued to climb. This time, Night Sorrow was under a lot of pressure because the last 100 meters of every stage was the most stressful. When there were only 20 meters left, Night Sorrow's true energy and the myriad Tao scriptures energy were depleted. He relied on his own body to continue climbing. When there were only 10 meters left, he used the profound jade spiritual energy to rush to the 6,000-meter tall platform. Recovering his cultivation on the 6,000-meter platform, Night Sorrow planned to cultivate here and break through here. Night Sorrow felt that breaking through would be very difficult, but he already had the strength to break through. There was no point in stubbornly holding on. After cultivating for half a day, the sky darkened. Night Sorrow stood up and looked at Danding Cliff. He drank a jar of wine and made a decision. Night Sorrow remembered Yu Yongyu's words. Walk your own path and don't care about what others say. Because everyone's path is different. If you feel that it's suitable, then break through. If others stay at this stage, what does it have to do with you? Core condensation stage. To enter the spirit severing stage, one had to compress all the qi in the dantian into the dan bead and strengthen the dan bead a second time. If not, then it would be a failure and cause the dan bead to crack. After Night Sorrow stabilized his qi, he began to compress his qi into the dan bead. At this time, it depended on the sturdiness of the foundation and the density of the qi. If the foundation was weak and the cultivation was forcefully increased by eating pills, then the control of the qi in the dantian would be poor. It would be difficult to compress the qi into the dan bead. Similarly, if the density of the qi was not enough and was very weak, then the space in the dan bead would not be able to contain the weak qi. If one could not compress all the qi, then it would still end in failure. Chapter 299. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Following the compression, the true qi in Night Sorrow's dantian became less and less, and the dantian became more and more crystal clear. Night Sorrow did not dare to go too far, for fear of damaging the pill. After a true qi cultivator enters the core condensation stage, the core is the foundation. Once there is a problem with the core, it will lead to the destruction of the foundation. At the crucial moment, Night Sorrow was very steady. He carefully compressed the true qi in his dantian into the dan bead. The true qi that entered the dan bead directly solidified and became a part of the dan bead. This was also a slow process. One night passed, and Night Sorrow was still trying to break through. This was his miscalculation. He had thought that he would be able to break through in a few hours, but in reality, it was still too slow. As the sun rose, More people arrived at Danding Peak. There were also some who reached the 6,000-meter platform. Those who were able to reach the 6 kilometers platform were all late fourth-order cultivators. The ones who came were Crepe Myrtle's Tang Qianqian and 9 Peaks Chu Ling Xiao. They also wanted to cultivate. When they saw Night Sorrow sitting cross-legged on the platform, they looked at each other and knew what was going on. The two of them stood on the 6,000-meter platform to guard Night Sorrow. Time slipped away little by little. In the afternoon, Night Sorrow compressed the last trace of true qi in his dantian into his dan bead. With the disappearance of the last trace of true qi, Night Sorrow's aura changed from core condensation to severed soul stage. Love, go little, say, Ku exhaling a mouthful of turbid air. Night Sorrow opened his eyes. Seeing Tang Qianqian and Chu Ling Xiao, Night Sorrow froze for a moment before understanding what was going on. He quickly stood up and said, "Many thanks Senior Brother Chu and Senior Sister Tang for helping Night Sorrow." "You're welcome. You're too rash." Tang Qianqian reprimanded Night Sorrow. "Night Sorrow is in a good mood right now, so don't be discouraged. Focus on stabilizing your cultivation." Chu Ling Xiao nodded to Night Sorrow and continued climbing. Tang Qianqian smiled at Night Sorrow and continued. 6 kilometers was not her limit. Night Sorrow's cultivation had just advanced and was not suitable for high-intensity cultivation. He did not continue to climb up. Instead, he returned to the 5,900-meter position to stabilize his cultivation. After staying at 5,900 meters for 2 days, he felt that his cultivation had stabilized. Night Sorrow released Tianyu, then flashed to Tianyu's back and landed on the ground. "You rascal. This is a heaven-defying rhythm. I have nothing else to say to you. You're always on tenterhooks." Elder Su's eyes were filled with joy and helplessness. He had always emphasized that Night Sorrow should strive for stability, but Night Sorrow's cultivation was soaring. "Thank you for your concern, Elder. I might not be coming back for a while." Night Sorrow bowed to Elder Su and climbed onto Tianyu's back, heading straight for Danding Peak. After his last breakthrough, Night Sorrow did not visit Yu Yongyu. This time, he was going to visit him before heading to the Far East Icefield. Night Sorrow did not intend to tell Yu Yongyu about going to the Far East Icefield. He did not want Yu Yongyu to worry. In the Danding Hall, Night Sorrow saw Yu Yongyu, the Great Elder, and a few other elders. The matter of the alternate dimension was now a hot topic. Everyone knew that the Medicine Valley had benefited greatly. The Scarlet Cloud sect had even issued a kill order for Night Sorrow. Therefore, the higher-ups of the Medicine Valley were discussing this issue. Seeing Yi Shang enter, and then looking at his cultivation, everyone was shocked. The Grand Elder even stood up. "Disciple greets Master and Elders." Night Sorrow bowed and said, *Forever Free our Read T Novel K, Spirit Severing Stage. What's wrong with you? Chen Wu's eyes were full of surprise. Love, go little, say, Networku. Following that, the other elders also began to discuss. Some praised Yi Shang, while others reprimanded him. Those who reprimanded him were those who felt that Yi Shang was too reckless. 13. Why did you come to see Master? Yu Yongyu didn't care about the other elders' discussion. He looked at Night Sorrow and asked. His eyes were full of praise because he could see that Night Sorrow's cultivation was very smooth. There was no problem with his foundation being unstable. Disciple has broken through. I came to report to Master. In addition, Disciple wants to go out and have a look. Night Sorrow said. No, you can't go out now. Before Yu Yongyu could speak, Chen Wu stared and said, Tell me your reason. Yu Yongyu looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I just want to go out and have a look, increase my field of vision, and practice my combat ability. Night Sorrow said. Okay, safety first. Don't cause trouble and don't be afraid of trouble. Yu Yongyu nodded. Yu Yongyu nodded, and the other elders didn't say anything. Master, this is Disciple's filial piety. Master, please take care of yourself. Night Sorrow stepped forward and handed a bottle of spiritual liquid of origin to Yu Yongyu with both hands. Then, he cupped his hands at the other elders and left the Alchemy Cauldron Hall. Seeing Night Sorrow leave with Tianyu, Chen Wu was a little anxious. Valley Master, how can you let him go out? The Scarlet Cloud sect has already issued a kill order. It's fine. I won't hide it from you elders. 13 has a certain status in Tianji Tower. A kill order? It won't be long before the Scarlet Cloud sect takes it back. As for a same-level battle, it's a training for him. Yu Yongyu said. Qian Wu and the others didn't say anything because Yu Yongyu's words made sense. Yu Yongyu didn't look at what was in the jade bottle and directly explained the current situation. The Medicine Valley needed stability, but no one could be arrogant in the Medicine Valley. As long as someone came, they would be killed. When Knight Sorrow returned to Alchemy City, he went directly to Tianji Tower to show off his cultivation. This was a helpless choice, but the reality required him to do so. Seeing that Knight Sorrow had entered the Severed Soul stage, Enforcer Dong was very surprised. He didn't expect Knight Sorrow to cultivate so quickly. The first time he saw Knight Sorrow was 1.5 years ago. At that time, Knight Sorrow was a little guy at stage 1 Qi refinement. But now, Yi Shiwen was already at the Severed Soul stage, the same cultivation level as him. This was unacceptable. After Knight Sorrow left, Enforcer Dong hurriedly wrote a letter. He had to inform the headquarters of such an important matter as soon as possible. He knew that this news would attract the attention of the headquarters. When Knight Sorrow returned to the Longquan courtyard, Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu were very happy and personally prepared food for Knight Sorrow. This was a big event worth celebrating. In addition, they also knew that Knight Sorrow might set off later. After stabilizing his cultivation level in the Longquan courtyard for 2 days, Knight Sorrow set off. He had to go to the Eastern Icefield. In addition, he was also working hard on the cultivation resources for the consolidation realm of the Myriad Dao Tome. A person without foresight was bound to have immediate worries. Although he hadn't yet entered the 7th level of bone forging, he still needed to prepare early. While Knight Sorrow and the others were celebrating, an uninvited guest came to the headquarters of the Red Cloud sect, Sea Heart Island. The uninvited guest went directly to the lonely mountain behind the island. Not long after the masked man in black arrived, 2 white-haired old men appeared. Who are you? Chapter 300. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. You came to our Scarlet Cloud sect just to say this? Then you've come to the wrong place. One of the elders stepped forward and said, whether I've come to the wrong place or not is not up to you two to decide. The black-clothed man's aura changed as he threw a punch at a stone mountain in the distance. F+ forever square root exempt from MFN. Look at little square root speak with a punch. The stone mountain shattered and debris flew everywhere. Do you think you can be so arrogant just because you're in the venerable realm? If I hear any more killing orders, I'll kill the 2 of you first and then raise your Scarlet Cloud sect to the ground. Try me if you're not convinced. The black-clothed man snorted coldly and then disappeared with a sway. The 2 white-haired elders looked at the raised stone mountain and did not speak for a long time. Then, the taller elder sighed. Even if we join forces, we're still no match for him. The sect's spiritual weapon is not necessarily useful. It's impossible that he doesn't have a spiritual weapon. Martial uncle, why would such an expert care about a killing order? Did the sect offend someone we shouldn't have? The shorter elder asked. It should be. Tell the sect master to cancel the killing order. Some people can't be offended, or it'll be a disaster. This matter might be related to Tianji Tower or Dongxian City. We know all the venerables of the other forces, but there's no such person. The taller elder shook his head helplessly. The Scarlet Cloud sect was very strong, but if they offended a colossus like Tianji Tower, they would be destroyed. The shorter elder nodded. He couldn't take the black-clothed man's attack just now. After Knight Sorrow finished celebrating, he left and set off for the Far East Icefield. During the day, Knight Sorrow sat on Tianyu's back and meditated. At night, he cultivated in the animal skin shack. When he was halfway there, Knight Sorrow finished strengthening the dragon bone on his back and the ribs on both sides. He also successfully strengthened his bone marrow and entered the 7th level of the bone forging realm. He advanced every day, but Knight Sorrow's cultivation didn't fall behind at all. With the assistance of the Flood Dragon Bone Forging Pill and the Origin Spiritual Liquid, his cultivation increased very quickly. Although it wasn't as fast as the last time when he and Yang Lei used their dual mounts, Knight Sorrow's speed wasn't slow either. Tianyu's cultivation had improved a lot since that time. When Tianyu returned from the void fiendish space, He had entered the 3rd rank, 9th rank. His speed had far surpassed other flying demonic beasts. After 1.5 months, Night Sorrow arrived at the eastern ice field. Looking at the unfamiliar yet somewhat familiar eastern ice field, Night Sorrow had Tianyu continue flying. Love, go little, say, Ku. 3 days later, Night Sorrow arrived at the eastern snow mountain. Looking at the sky, Night Sorrow didn't continue climbing. Instead, he set up a shack and stayed there. He planned to continue climbing the mountain the next day. After feeding Tianyu a beast origin pill, Night Sorrow opened a jar of wine to drink. Suddenly, a figure appeared. It was Wu Lingfei, wearing a pure white dress and a white veil. She held a white long sword in her hand. Senior! Night Sorrow stood up and cupped his hands in greeting. Your cultivation has increased very quickly. But what are you doing here? If this place had a Heaven's Mandate stone, I wouldn't have needed you to search for it, said Wu Lingfei coldly as she looked at Night Sorrow. Junior has come to fulfill the promise. Does Senior's promise still count? Yi Shang asked. You came as promised? You mean to say that you have the Heaven's Mandate stone? Wu Lingfei's voice unconsciously rose a lot. Yes, it's in this box. But I want to know if Senior's promise still counts? Night Sorrow took out the jade box and looked at the white-clothed woman. The spirit tool is naturally yours, said Wu Lingfei as she looked at the box in Night Sorrow's hand. Not this. I'm talking about borrowing it for free, said Night Sorrow. Of course, I'm a woman of my word. If I say I'm borrowing it for free, then I'm borrowing it for free. Wu Lingfei nodded. How long? Asked Night Sorrow again. 3 months at the shortest, and half a year at the longest, said Wu Lingfei after thinking for a moment. Okay. Night Sorrow stepped forward and handed the jade box to Wu Lingfei. After Wu Lingfei opened the jade box, her eyes were attracted to the Heaven's Mandate stone. After a while, she closed the box. You're a woman of your word, and so am I. Do you plan to go back now and come back later? Asked Wu Lingfei after closing the jade box. She looked at Night Sorrow and asked, I'm not going back. I'll wait here for Senior to finish using it. Night Sorrow said. He had already made this decision. After all, going back and forth would take too long, and he couldn't afford it. Then go to my Chenren Peak. I'll go into seclusion, and you can cultivate there. Although it's cold there, with your body's strength, you should be able to withstand it. You can treat it as a trial, said Wu Lingfei. Night Sorrow nodded. He thought that was fine. After Night Sorrow nodded, Wu Lingfei waved her sleeve. Energy appeared and wrapped around Night Sorrow and Tianyu. Then Night Sorrow felt dizzy, and the scenery in the night changed. After a while, the energy around Night Sorrow dissipated, and Tianyu could move. Under the cover of the night, Yi Shang observed his surroundings. They were at the bottom of a mountain. Behind Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei was a cliff, which was also the peak of the mountain. They were at a platform below the peak. There's a cave there. You can rest and cultivate there. If there's nothing important, don't disturb me. After Wu Lingfei finished speaking, she waved her arm and a jade box appeared. She sat cross-legged on it and opened the jade box, holding the water element Heaven's Mandate stone in her hand. As Wu Lingfei cultivated, an extremely cold energy appeared on her body, and she instantly froze herself. Strong. Night Sorrow couldn't help but admire Wu Lingfei's strength. She directly condensed her energy into ice and froze herself. How heaven-defying was that? Night Sorrow had Tianyu rest while he entered the cave. The cave was very tidy. It seemed this was where Wu Lingfei lived. Thinking about it, Night Sorrow felt it wasn't suitable, so he went to the cave and began to meditate. Night Sorrow felt this place was pretty good. The extremely cold energy was very strong, and he could use this pressure to temper his true qi and the myriad Dao Tome's energy. Currently, Night Sorrow's myriad Dao Tome had reached the 7th level of the bone-forging realm. He had begun to strengthen his shoulder bones, collarbone, and bone marrow. Once he finished strengthening them, he could enter the 8th level of the bone-forging realm. The 8th level of the bone-forging realm strengthened his neck and bone marrow. Once he succeeded, he would enter the 9th level of the bone-forging realm. Once his skull and bone marrow were strengthened, he would enter the 4th stage of the myriad Dao Tome, the unity realm. Cultivating in the biting cold wind was a kind of torture for Night Sorrow, but the true chi and energy he cultivated was very pure. In terms of perseverance, Night Sorrow had it. When he was thirsty, he would drink a few mouthfuls of wine. When his body needed nourishment, he would eat fasting pills and continue to cultivate. Night Sorrow diligently cultivated, and his cultivation base quickly rose. After all, he was using the Source Spirit Elixir and the Flood Dragon Bone Forging Pill. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, over a month had passed. Other than feeding Tianyu Beast Essence pills, Night Sorrow didn't get up to come over. Tianyu was already used to this place. He would often go out to hunt demon beasts. The Eastern Snow Mountain had ice flood dragons, and the ice flood dragon's gallbladder was a great supplement for them. Chapter 301. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? Here's a wonderful novel for you to read. After looking at the origin stone for a while, Wu Lingfei turned to Night Sorrow and said, I need to go into seclusion again. The mysteries of this origin stone are truly difficult to comprehend. Love, go little, say Webku. Don't worry. Night Sorrow nodded. You know how to use the power of extreme cold to temper your cultivation. Not bad. Wu Lingfei took out a jar of wine and took a sip from her veil. Later. I plan to go to the Ice Plain Sea to look for Ice Spirit Blood Essence, Night Sorrow said. That's good. Ice Spirit Blood Essence contains a very strong blood essence. You might not be able to absorb it right now. Wait until your body is a bit stronger, then you'll be able to use it, Wu Lingfei said. Then I'll go later. Night Sorrow nodded. He understood that the Ice Spirit Blood Essence was very useful. Oh dollar. If you can, bring me a few more pieces. Wu Lingfei turned around and took another sip of wine before speaking. Sure. I don't understand one thing. Senior also cultivates a special cultivation method. Your body is very strong, so your blood essence should also be very strong. Can you get more Ice Spirit Blood Essence if you go to the Ice Plain Sea? Night Sorrow asked. No, I have the ice attribute of the water attribute. My body is strong, but my blood essence is not enough, so I can't draw out the Ice Spirit Blood Essence. Wu Lingfei shook her head. Night Sorrow knew that attributes were very important. He also planned to study his own attributes. During this period of time in the extreme cold, it was not suitable for him to activate his attributes, so he didn't touch this area. What is your attribute? While Night Sorrow was thinking, Wu Lingfei asked. This was a very important aspect for cultivators. If one's attribute was strong, then one's combat power would be strong. I don't know. I came here as soon as I reached rank 4. The extreme cold is not suitable for activating my attributes, so I plan to wait, Night Sorrow said. Don't worry, it won't take long. Enter the cave and I'll help you activate it. Wu Lingfei was very interested in Night Sorrow's attributes. Night Sorrow followed Wu Lingfei into the cave. After entering the cave, Wu Lingfei waved her hand and sealed the entrance with ice. Wu Lingfei stood at the entrance of the cave and said, The extreme cold here is still very strong, but it won't suppress the other elements. Focus and feel the elemental powers in the air. Absorb whatever you think you can absorb, and then punch me with all your strength. Baidu search AI Go female sign Xiao, say www.aichuxs. Calm Night Sorrow nodded and began to meditate to sense the elements in the space. As he focused his mind, Night Sorrow realized that he was surrounded by white dots of light. These white dots of light were mixed with small amounts of yellow, blue, green, red, light purple, milky white, light black, green, dark black, gray, and dark gray dots of light. Carefully sensing, Night Sorrow also discovered a type of dark purple bubble and a type of trembling stripe. These two types were hidden in these spots of light. Night Sorrow understood that these spots of light were elemental powers. The first 7 were the ordinary earth, water, wind, fire, lightning, light, and darkness. Then there was the green life, the dark black death, the gray space, the light gray time, and the faint purple gas and trembling stripe. He wasn't sure, but he suspected that they were void and destruction. Sensing this, Night Sorrow opened his mind and body to absorb. As Night Sorrow absorbed, these spots of light didn't move. Only the dark purple gas entered Night Sorrow's body. Standing up, Night Sorrow punched at Wu Lingfei. It was just an ordinary punch, a punch of the rank 4 cultivation. Pang! With a muffled sound, Night Sorrow retreated a few steps. Wu Lingfei didn't move, but her eyes were full of shock. What a tribute! Night Sorrow felt that his chi had changed, but Night Sorrow couldn't tell what it was. Continue absorbing elemental powers and punch again, Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded and sat down cross-legged, continuing to absorb the attribute of the dark purple bubble. After a while, he stood up and punched at Wu Lingfei again. After another collision, Night Sorrow was forced back. Void attribute. It really is the void attribute. Night Sorrow, you're very lucky to be able to comprehend a peak attribute like this. The most fortunate thing is that you met me today. If it were someone from another realm, you'd be dead by now, Wu Lingfei said. Night Sorrow's expression changed. He knew what the void attribute meant. It was one of the peak attributes. That won't do. If we fight, you'll be exposed, Wu Lingfei said with a frown. I can use profound jade spirit chi. Night Sorrow waved his hand and sent out a palm filled with cold chi. This is a way to hide your own attribute. I didn't think of that. Your profound jade hands is quite good. Wu Lingfei nodded after seeing Night Sorrow's palm. Night Sorrow nodded. In order to cultivate the profound jade hands, he had suffered a lot. Remember, as long as you use the void attribute in a fight, you must kill your opponent. Otherwise, it'll be troublesome. Wu Lingfei reminded Night Sorrow. I don't see how strong the void attribute is. Night Sorrow still had some doubts. Then let me ask you. Did you get attacked by the cold chi just now? You didn't, right? In addition, your fist of the first rank of the 4th step has melted twice as much of my Zhen Qi as yours. Think about the pros and cons of this. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and said. She knew that Night Sorrow had just comprehended the attribute and didn't know the power of a peak attribute. Then I'll take my time to study it. Night Sorrow nodded, feeling very happy. Then I'll continue my seclusion. I estimate it'll take another 2 or 3 months. It won't delay your return. Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. She waved her hand and broke the ice at the entrance of the cave. Then she took out an origin stone and continued to cultivate. Night Sorrow sat down at the entrance of the cave and continued to cultivate. As he cultivated, he began to absorb the void attribute. As he circulated his true energy to cultivate, Night Sorrow noticed something shocking. The heavenly fate pearl in his Dantian region was moving. It was spinning, and was emitting a power that was far, far purer than the power he had absorbed on his own. After a while, Night Sorrow's chi was filled with the void attribute. Even so, the void fate pearl was still rotating and pouring attributes into Night Sorrow's Dantian. Night Sorrow tried to pour his chi into the void fate pearl. After pouring it in, Night Sorrow's chi was absorbed by the void fate pearl. However, there was no reaction. Seeing that the void fate pearl was absorbing his chi, but there was no reaction, Night Sorrow continued to pour his chi into the void fate pearl. Night Sorrow used his origin spiritual liquid to recover his chi. Then he continued to pour his chi into the void fate pearl. As long as the void fate pearl could absorb it, he would continue to pour it in. After 7 days, Night Sorrow stopped using the origin spiritual liquid and began to recover his chi. He knew that he had been using the origin spiritual liquid for a long time. His chi was weak, and there was no point in assimilating it. After recovering his cultivation base, Yi Shang continued to channel his true chi into the heavenly fate pearl. Chapter 302. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow had originally planned to go down East Snow Mountain and search for Ice Spirit Blood Essence in the Ice Plains Sea. But now, he no longer had such thoughts. He wanted to fight to the death with the Void Fate Pearl. As long as it did not affect his cultivation, there was nothing to worry about. This time, Night Sorrow did not calculate the time. He poured his true chi into the Void Fate Pearl. Once his true chi was exhausted, he would sit down and recover before pouring more true chi. Time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Night Sorrow did not stand up once. When Tianyu returned, Night Sorrow threw a beast pill to Tianyu and continued to fight with the Void Fate Pearl. When Yishang was about to run out of true energy again, the Voidless Fate bead stopped absorbing true energy. Instead, it began to spin around Yishang's dantian. At the same time, Yishang felt a special connection between him and the Voidless Fate bead. It was an inexplicable connection. Looking at the frozen Wu Lingfei, Night Sorrow began to cultivate on the platform. He cultivated his spear arts, fist arts, and movement arts. After cultivating for a while, Night Sorrow discovered that his true chi had a color. It was a very beautiful purple. The color was a little dazzling. Night Sorrow circulated the profound jade spirit chi in his hands to cover up the void attribute. After cultivating for a day, seeing Tianyu return, Night Sorrow wanted to move. Night Sorrow rode Tianyu and flew towards the Ice Plains Sea. He planned to cultivate while moving and collect some ice spirit blood essence. After arriving at the Ice Plains Sea, Night Sorrow got off Tianyu's back. He circulated the myriad Dao Tome's energy and began to run across the Ice Plains Sea while cultivating. As he ran, Night Sorrow pondered. Since he had comprehended the attributes, he could study the protective chi. Currently, he had the energy of the myriad Dao's tome to protect his body. However, it was still good to have an additional layer of protective chi. While running, Night Sorrow's dantian's Zhen Qi burst out and formed a protective Zhen Qi shield around his body. Without the Zhen Qi in his hands, his protective Zhen Qi was light purple. Next, Night Sorrow used his profound jade spirit energy to change the protective Zhen Qi into a white, ice-attributed Zhen Qi. Night Sorrow tried to switch back and forth to train. The Qi shield could increase one's defense. It was very important for a cultivator as it could block the damage from the harsh environment. After advancing for a day, Night Sorrow collected a piece of ice spirit blood essence. He did not stop and continued to run across the icy sea. Tianyu followed right above his head. 4_forever TQ long time free Wi-Fi hashtag C small say. X after running for 10 days, Night Sorrow took a detour. After being hundreds of miles away from the original path, he continued to run back. 20 days later, he returned to the East Snow Mountain. Not only did he collect 13 pieces of ice spirit blood essence, but he also cultivated his Zhen Qi to the peak of the spirit severing stage. The progress of the myriad Dao's tome was also very fast. At the foot of the East Snow Mountain, Night Sorrow rode Tianyu back to the Qianren Peak. At the same place, Night Sorrow saw Wu Lingfei breaking out of the ice. "I thought you didn't want the origin stone and ran away." Wu Lingfei put the origin stone into a jade box and handed it to Night Sorrow. "Have you comprehended the mystery?" Night Sorrow took back the water attribute origin stone and asked. He had noticed that Wu Lingfei was holding the origin stone. It was not damaged and the energy was very rich, just like before. "How can it be that easy? I just comprehended it. I will slowly understand it in the future. Now, let's talk about the spirit tools. I killed some venerables in the early years and collected some spirit tools. What kind of spirit tools do you need?" Wu Lingfei asked. "I only know spear arts and I won't change, so I only use spear arts." Night Sorrow said. He would not give up on spear arts cultivation. Baidu search AI Go, Xiao Shua. www.aichux.com. I don't have a spirit tool spear, so I'll give you a defensive spirit tool. However, you can't use its power at the moment. Give me your hand and I will help you refine it. Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow stretched out his hand. Wu Lingfei waved her left hand and energy streaked across the back of Night Sorrow's hand, taking away a stream of blood. A white vest appeared on her right hand. Wu Lingfei poured Night Sorrow's blood into the vest. Then, energy appeared on her hands and covered the vest. After half a cup of tea's time, Night Sorrow had a special feeling in his heart. He felt that the vest had a connection with him. You should be able to feel it. From now on, wear it close to your body. Although you are weak, this ice silk soft garment can help you block an all-out attack from an opponent one level higher than you. If you enter the 5th level, then even a venerable won't be able to heavily injure you in one move. I originally wanted to give you a low-grade spirit weapon, but I don't have any spears, so I can only let you have it. Wu Lingfei handed the ice silk soft garment to Yi Shang. Thank you, Senior. Yi Shan took the soft ice silk clothing, put it away and bowed. You've helped me twice. A long time ago, I was injured, and my chi and blood were unable to recover. I knew that the Ice Plain Sea had ice spirit blood essence, but I couldn't get it. There were no ice spirit wells near the Ice Snow Mountain, so I could only rely on the East Snow Mountain's extreme cold to nourish my body. You came and helped me solve this problem. Also, you brought the Source Stone. You'll know its use later, Wu Lingfei said. Senior, you are the top fighting force of the Eastern Xian region. If there is a region war, you will have to contribute. As someone from the Eastern Xian region, I will naturally contribute to the Eastern Xian region. Even if I don't have a spirit weapon, I will still fulfill my promise, said Yishang. I can understand your intentions. I won't stay in the East Snow Mountain for long in the future. If you have any problems in the Eastern Xian region, just crush the spirit pearl and I will rush over as soon as possible. Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. Junior understands. As for the origin stone, it's not that I'm stingy, but that I have other uses. Here is another type of origin stone. If Senior needs it, I can lend it to you for a few years. Night Sorrow took out the Fire Origin Stone. After taking the Fire Origin Stone and looking at it, Wu Lingfei put it back into the jade box and returned it to Night Sorrow. This is not compatible with my attribute. Studying it will increase my fighting strength, but it's better to focus on comprehending the law of water. Remember, a man's wealth is his own ruin. These are all life-threatening things. Senior, do you still need the Ice Spirit Blood Essence? Night Sorrow asked. You have extra? Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I went to look for it a few days ago and got some. Night Sorrow took out 6 or 7 pieces and put them in front of him. You are really amazing. I can't help but admire you. I reckon that you will need this to help you cultivate soon. I'll take 2 pieces. It's easy for you to find them, but it's harder for me to find them. A naturally erupting ice spirit well is no different from looking for a needle in a haystack. Wu Lingfei said with a sigh after taking the 2 pieces. I'll look for some more on my way out. Senior, please keep them. Night Sorrow bent down and picked up the ice spirit blood essence and handed it to Wu Lingfei. Chapter 303. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Tianji Tower. Senior is from Tianji Tower? Night Sorrow was shocked. He didn't expect Tianji Tower to be so strong. Even the unfathomable Wu Lingfei was related to Tianji Tower. Is there a problem? Wu Lingfei frowned at Night Sorrow. Clearly, his words had touched her. No problem. Junior also knows a few people from Tianji Tower. Night Sorrow said. Yes, of course. You're so outstanding. If they couldn't find you, then they must be blind. All right, I'll take you down East Snow Mountain. Then you can go back early. Wu Lingfei waved her arm and wrapped Night Sorrow in Tianyu, then flew down East Snow Mountain. Tianyu needed to fly for a while, but with Wu Lingfei's help, it only took a few breaths. Most of the chapters in Chapter 5 section above 3. After reaching the foot of East Snow Mountain, Wu Lingfei released the energy control and released Night Sorrow and Tianyu. This is my token. Take it, it might be useful. Go back early. Tossing a token to Yi Shan, Wu Lingfei's figure flashed as she disappeared into the vast expanse of white ice. Seeing Wu Lingfei leave, Night Sorrow took out the ice silk soft clothes from his storage ring and looked at it carefully. The ice silkworm soft garment was a close-fitting soft garment in the shape of a small vest. Touching the soft garment, Yi Shang felt as if it was connected to his flesh and blood. Yi Shang knew that this was because it had recognized him as its master. Normally, Night Sorrow couldn't recognize a spirit tool as its master with his 4th stage cultivation. It was Wu Lingfei who used her high cultivation to force the ice silk soft clothes to recognize him as its master. After putting on the ice silk soft clothes, Night Sorrow looked at Wu Lingfei's token. It was a white jade pendant with the word Wu engraved on it. After putting away the token, Night Sorrow began to run forward. Although he had accumulated some ice spirit blood essence, it would be better if he could get some when he went out. In the headquarters of Dongxian City's Tianji Tower, Yin Shui and Ho Yuan were drinking tea. The 2 old fogies from the Scarlet Cloud sect should be scared now. If they don't withdraw the kill order, I'll go there again, Ho Yuan said as he sipped his tea. It's not up to them not to be afraid. If they dare to not be afraid, then we'll teach them a lesson until they're afraid. Yin Shui said with a smile. While the two of them were talking, Lei Hui came in, followed by Jiao Qing. Lei Hui threw a letter on the table. You two take a look. If there's no problem, we'll report it. Yin Shui picked up the letter and read it before passing it to Hou Yuan. What is this guy doing? Why is he so troublesome? Hou Yuan said after reading the letter. When Supervisor Lan left, she said that if Night Sorrow enters the 4th stage within 2 years, we'll report it. Since Night Sorrow has broken through, we'll report it, Yin Shui said. Night Sorrow's matter was the responsibility of the Tianji Tower's Law Protector team. It was his subordinate's matter, so he was very happy about it. Then we have nothing to study. We'll report it directly, haha. If he passes the inspection, he'll be a 4-star in the heaven rank trial, Lei Hui said happily. Looks like we'll have to supervise Hou Jian and Nan Liyue. They've been left behind, Hou Yuan said. It's not that Hou Jian and Nan Liyue are inferior. Night Sorrow's rise is too fast and too dazzling. In addition, Lei Bao and Lei Zhang from the Thunder Rumbling sect have entered the 4th stage. Su Wang from the Golden Flame sect has entered the 4th stage, and Hou Yuan's junior, Hou Qingjie. All of them can enter the Black Watch. The problem is whether they have the qualifications to start the heaven rank trial, Lei Hui said as he sat down. Su Wang, Lei Zhang, and Hou Qingjie are all very outstanding. Just give them a black eye and recruit them directly. Lei Bao is not bad. I think we should start the Heaven's Fate assessment, Hou Yuan said. At this time, he was extremely fair. Elder Hou is right. Lei Zhang and Hou Qingjie are stronger than Su Wang, but it's enough to recruit them directly. Lei Bao can be given a chance. Yin Shui agreed with Hou Yuan's point of view. Then it's decided. Organize the information and report it directly. Also, observe Su Mu from the Golden Flame sect. He's very talented, Lei Hui decided. Night Sorrow ran across the ice plains every day. If he was lucky, he would be able to collect ice spirit blood essences. 6 days later, Night Sorrow left the Far East ice plains. He had collected 5 more ice spirit blood essences. Now, he had close to 20 ice spirit blood essences in his storage ring. After leaving the Far East ice plains, Night Sorrow got on Tianyu's back and flew towards the Medicine Valley. If there was nothing urgent, Night Sorrow would travel during the day and rest during the night. While traveling, he would also raise his cultivation base. Night Sorrow was already at the 2nd level of the Spirit Severing stage. However, his cultivation of the Myriad Dao Treasured Tome was a little slow. After all, the Origin Spirit Liquid was still a little lacking in terms of cultivation of the body. What made Night Sorrow the happiest was that the Void Fate Pearl was constantly releasing a purple void attribute, transforming Night Sorrow's true chi. When resting at night, Night Sorrow would often be attacked by demonic beasts. However, Night Sorrow didn't need to deal with them. Tianyu would directly kill them. Day after day passed. Night Sorrow was getting closer and closer to the Medicine Valley. While flying, he would also be attacked by flying demonic beasts. However, Night Sorrow and Tianyu were now extremely strong. If they didn't open their eyes, they would be killed. 2 months later, Night Sorrow returned to Danding City and directly went to the Dragon Spring Courtyard. After returning to the Dragon Spring Courtyard, Night Sorrow didn't see Yang Lei. However, he knew that the Red Cloud sect and the Golden Flame sect had joined forces to attack the Medicine Valley. They didn't send out any venerables. They were all below the 5th level. Of course, the Medicine Valley didn't hold back. They directly organized people to fight back. The O family also sent out disciples to participate in the battle. Now, the battle was very intense. How could this be? Night Sorrow asked, somewhat puzzled. You killed the Red Cloud sect too miserably in the alternate space. Therefore, they hit it off with the Golden Flame sect and want to attack the Medicine Valley. Ahoy, who was staying in the Dragon Spring Courtyard, said. Why is it my business again? Night Sorrow was somewhat speechless. He really didn't want to cause trouble for the Medicine Valley. However, trouble came again. This is called the tree wants to be quiet, but the wind won't stop. You hurt the Red Cloud sect, and the Golden Flame sect is cheap. What can you do? Sikong Chuyu said. Since they're here, Then let's kill them. Night Sorrow was somewhat angry. The matter in the alternate space was solved in the alternate space. What kind of ability was it to come out and settle accounts? You don't have to worry. It's currently a mess. The Southern Dipper sect and the Walkabout sect have attacked the Red Cloud sect. The Holy Light sect and the Thunder Rumbling sect are also fighting. It's said that the Thunder Rumbling sect's disciples killed many of the Holy Light sect's disciples. Aoi said. It's really chaotic. The Thunder Rumbling sect's disciples are not bad. They are a bit overbearing, but they are very magnanimous. Night Sorrow said. He had a good impression of Lei Bao and Lei Zheng. Among the 7 superpowers of the Eastern Profound Domain, the strongest is the Holy Light sect. However, the most belligerent is the Thunder Rumbling sect. If the Holy Light sect wants to show off in front of the Thunder Rumbling sect, then they found the wrong place. Aoi explained the situation of the Holy Light sect and the Thunder Rumbling sect to Night Sorrow. This time, it's a chaotic situation. Where did my 9th senior sister go? Night Sorrow asked. She went to Nanyang City. She went there to guard the situation. Senior brother and the others are also there. You don't have to worry. You should rest and accompany Sikong. You haven't seen each other in a long time. Aoi smiled and left. Chapter 304. Geniuses Remember Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Did everything go well? Sikong Chuyu asked after entering the main building. Very well. All the problems have been solved. How have you been recently? Night Sorrow asked while holding Sikong Chuyu's hand. $**U only original W version O, P and him. Are all stolen D versions plus. Very well. It's just too quiet without you around. Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that with Sikong Chuyu here and Yonglei not around, it would indeed be lonely. Aoi had to guide the disciples in their cultivation, and couldn't accompany him all the time. Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu chatted while drinking tea. Night Sorrow hadn't been so relaxed in a long time. After that, the two of them went to the dining room to eat. The dining room was very lively. Yonglei and Qing Ji's disciples were all here. There were a lot of people here, and it was very noisy. When they saw Night Sorrow, these disciples bowed to him. This wasn't just respect for seniority, but also respect for the strong. In the Medicine Valley, if you didn't know the name Night Sorrow, then you didn't deserve to be a disciple of the Medicine Valley. Not only in Taishan Peak, but in the entire Medicine Valley, Night Sorrow was a model of the sect's disciples. Make yourselves at home. Everyone, sit down and eat. Yi Shang waved his hand at the group of third-generation disciples. He found a seat and sat down. Sikong Chuyu sat beside him. Night Sorrow came to eat to relieve his emotions and find the feeling. After eating a little, he put down his bowl and chopsticks. 13th Martial Uncle, can you tell us how to cultivate faster? Seeing Night Sorrow put down his bowl and chopsticks, He Miao walked over and asked. Actually, I don't know either. I feel that we have to know what we want first and then work hard to fight for it. Only by fighting for it can we get what we want. Night Sorrow thought for a while and said. 6th Martial Uncle, I don't really understand. He Miao looked at Aoi. Actually, your 13th Martial Uncle's fast cultivation speed is related to his talent. But the most important thing is his hard work. Since he entered the sect, his life has only been cultivation and experience. But this might not be suitable for you. Aoi said. He Miao and the others nodded. They really didn't understand Night Sorrow's rise. After eating, Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu went to the Skywater Lake to enjoy the breeze. The silver fox cub also followed behind. It shouldn't be called a cub anymore. It had grown a lot and its cultivation had reached the mid-stage of the second order. It was very close to Night Sorrow. This was something that no one could compare to. Even Aoi, Sikong Chuyu, Hai Luo, and the others who had been taking care of him all this time. Enjoying the night breeze, Night Sorrow's heart was exceptionally peaceful. He hugged Sikong Chuyu and didn't need to say anything. The other party knew what they were thinking. Chuyu, I'll accompany you to the Qingtian region later, okay? Now that the Eastern Xian region is in chaos and the Medicine Valley is in a difficult situation, I have to help. Night Sorrow said. I know there's no hurry. It's not bad to accompany you in the eastern Xian region like this. I know that you're going to participate in the war. I'll go with you. If the Sikong clan and Jiyu clan find out that I'm here, we'll run. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. Night Sorrow nodded. He didn't have many worries now. He didn't need to take a position in Tianji Tower now, but he could also ask for a position himself. If Sikong Chuyu was exposed again, then Night Sorrow could go to Tianji Tower, take a mission, and go to another region to cultivate quietly. As for whether the Jiyu clan and Sikong clan would threaten the Medicine Valley, this problem wouldn't appear. First of all, without a venerable, no one could shake the foundation of the Medicine Valley. Producing a venerable? Tianji Tower wouldn't watch. The night was a little cold. Night Sorrow put his outer robe on Sikong Chuyu. Let's go back and rest. You've been eating and sleeping in the open these days. You need to have a good sleep. Sikong Chuyu said. Night Sorrow nodded and returned to her pavilion with Sikong Chuyu in his arms. Go in and have a cup of hot tea. Sikong Chuyu said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded with a smile. He also wanted to accompany Sikong Chuyu for a while. Staying in the bamboo pavilion, Sikong Chuyu lit a red candle and made a pot of tea. Such a scene has appeared in my mind many times. Night Sorrow said with a smile. It will happen often in the future, but we may need to add a few more chairs. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. What for? Night Sorrow was stunned and asked. What about ninth senior sister? Also, if you help us find a few more sisters, we'll need more chairs. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. Chuyu, I'm sorry. I didn't handle these things well. Night Sorrow said apologetically. Don't be like this. I don't mean to blame you. I also like ninth senior sister. Sikong Chuyu held Night Sorrow's hand and said. Night Sorrow nodded. As long as Sikong Chuyu and Yonglei had a good relationship, he felt at ease. Okay, let's rest. Sikong Chuyu's face was a little red. Then I won't leave. Looking at Sikong Chuyu's beautiful face, Night Sorrow was a little touched. Then Sikong Chuyu took off her skirt and helped Night Sorrow hang up his outer robe. Night Sorrow sat beside Sikong Chuyu and looked at Sikong Chuyu quietly. Chuyu, you're so beautiful. Night Sorrow held Sikong Chuyu's hand and said. You also know how to coax people. Let's rest. Sikong Chuyu's face was very red. Night Sorrow nodded and hugged Sikong Chuyu to lie on the bed. Hugging Sikong Chuyu's delicate body and nose full of Sikong Chuyu's scent, Night Sorrow had a reaction. Night Sorrow, you? Sikong Chuyu, who was leaning on Night Sorrow's arm, felt the change in Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was a little embarrassed and didn't know how to explain. Night Sorrow, I haven't known you for a long time. I understand you, so I don't blame you. I also want to be your woman and be with you for the rest of my life. Sikong Chuyu's voice was as soft as a mosquito's. I didn't think so, but this happened. Please don't mind. Night Sorrow didn't want to pressure Sikong Chuyu. I don't mind. I understand. Sikong Chuyu looked up at Night Sorrow. She liked this kind of Night Sorrow, who was simple and considerate. Night Sorrow lowered his head and kissed Sikong Chuyu's red lips. At this time, he couldn't control himself anymore. Sikong Chuyu hugged Night Sorrow's neck and passionately kissed him back. The two of them rolled on the bed. As they rolled, their clothes became less and less. After a while, they were naked under the red candles. Sikong Chuyu's body was like white jade. It was a masterpiece given to the human world by God. Noticing Night Sorrow looking at her, Sikong Chuyu pulled the blanket over herself. You can't look at me like that. Go and blow out the light. Night Sorrow nodded and got up to extinguish the red candles. Then he returned to the bedside. Sikong Chuyu reached out and held Night Sorrow's hand. Night Sorrow returned to the bed and covered Night Sorrow with the blanket. Chapter 305. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow, I'm here. Sikong Chuyu moved the quilt and hugged Yishan. Yishan looked at Sikong Chuyu. Sikong Chuyu looked at Yishan and hugged him. Night Sorrow couldn't think of anything else at this moment. He hugged Sikong Chuyu and gently placed him on the bed. Then, he gently pressed down on Sikong Chuyu's delicate body. Soft moans and gasps echoed in the bamboo building. The moment the golden phoenix and the jade dew met, it was better than countless things in the world. After a long time, the storm gradually subsided. Yishang tightly hugged Sikong Chuyu. Yishang, we're together. Leaning on Yishang's shoulder, Sikong Chuyu's voice was still a little breathless. Yes, Night Sorrow said in a low voice. We're together now. Chuyu, when I go to the realm of Qingtian, I'll propose marriage. I won't let you follow me around like this. Sikong Chuyu leaned on Night Sorrow's shoulder and said, I don't care about that, as long as we're together. I'm willing to win the heart of one of us and stay together forever. I'll keep that in mind, Night Sorrow said as he stroked Sikong Chuyu's hair. The two of them hugged each other and chatted casually. It was inevitable that their passion would ignite again. The two of them woke up early in the morning. When Night Sorrow woke up, Sikong Chuyu tidied up the bedsheets because there were plum blossoms blooming on them. Noticing Night Sorrow's gaze, Sikong Chuyu felt a little embarrassed. Don't look. Night Sorrow smiled and went to wash up. He was very happy that he had a woman he liked. Now, he just had to work hard to increase his cultivation. When they were having breakfast together, Aoi smiled at the two of them. Congratulations! Sixth senior sister. Sikong Chuyu blushed. She knew she couldn't hide such a thing. All right, let's eat. 13. You have to treat Chuyu well in the future. Otherwise, sixth senior sister won't forgive you. Aoi glanced at Night Sorrow and said. Sikong Chuyu's transformation from a girl to a woman couldn't be hidden from her. Love, go little, say, ku after eating something. Night Sorrow chatted with Sikong Chuyu in the garden of the other courtyard. He was not in a hurry to cultivate, so he didn't mind spending one more day. Night Sorrow, you've already split your soul by 2 levels. Have you cultivated your elemental and protective chi? Sikong Chuyu asked. I've cultivated it, but there's a small problem. Night Sorrow told him about his nihility attribute. You can't tell anyone about this. Otherwise, trouble will come. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Sikong Chuyu was a little anxious. This matter was too big and could shock the world. I'm telling you. If I don't tell anyone, it won't be exposed easily. Night Sorrow smiled. Whether it's the nihility attribute or the nihility attribute, they are both factors that can cause a storm of blood. Do you know why the cores of demonic beasts below the 4th rank are not worth much? Because they don't contain any elemental attributes. It's the same for cultivators. Sikong Chuyu said to Night Sorrow. After that, Sikong Chuyu explained the importance of elemental cores to Night Sorrow. Whether it was humans or demonic beasts, once they reached the 4th rank, their cores would have elemental attributes. Absorbing elemental energy to cultivate was a method of cultivating elemental attributes. You mean if they know my elemental attribute, others will kill me and steal my core? Night Sorrow asked in shock. Yes. The nihility attribute is the highest attribute and can restrain other attributes. Everyone covets this attribute, so you have to be careful. Sikong Chuyu nodded. Her heart was filled with worry. If this continued, Night Sorrow would be at the center of the storm sooner or later. It would be very dangerous. I have a way to hide it. Night Sorrow's true chi flowed through his hands and exploded, forming a milky white protective shield. Ice attribute? Sikong Chuyu was stunned. Night Sorrow then explained the characteristics of his mystic ice hands to Sikong Chuyu. After what happened last night, the two did not need to be separated. That's not bad. Sikong Chuyu nodded. With this mystic jade spiritual chi to hide the nihility attribute, it would not be discovered. After lunch, Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu planned to leave for Nanyang City. After a morning's rest, Sikong Chuyu's pain had already recovered. Aoi said a few words to the two before sending them off. Riding on Tianyu, Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu set off for Nanyang City. Sitting on Tianyu's back, Sikong Chuyu leaned into Night Sorrow's embrace. I like this feeling. In the future, let's find a place with beautiful scenery and live a peaceful life. Chuyu, I still want to find my parents first. Night Sorrow whispered. This matter was buried deep in his heart. I know. When it's convenient, let's walk around. Your jade pendant should be a very important clue. Sikong Chuyu said. Time passed quickly as they chatted. In 2 days, the two arrived at Nanyang City. When they arrived at Nanyang City, Knight Sorrow could feel the tense atmosphere of battle. The people coming and going in the city were all armored city guards. Knight Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu did not ride Tianyu into the city. It would be easy for them to be attacked. This place was different from Danding City. Knight Sorrow did not have special privileges. When they arrived at the city lord's mansion, Knight Sorrow took out his identity token. The guards were disciples of Medicine Valley. They recognized Knight Sorrow and led Knight Sorrow into the city lord's mansion. Inside the city lord's mansion, Knight Sorrow saw Yang Lei, Chu Ling Xiao, and Wu Qi. Ninth senior sister, I'm here. Second senior brother Chu, you're all here. Knight Sorrow greeted them as they entered the city lord's mansion. Sikong Chuyu also cupped his fists in greeting. 13, you're here. Have a seat. Yang Lei nodded at Knight Sorrow. After Knight Sorrow sat down, Yang Lei and the others continued to talk about the current situation. Then, Knight Sorrow learned about the current situation. The current battlefield between Medicine Valley, O Family, Golden Flame Sect, and Scarlet Cloud Sect was at Nanyang Lake. They were all gathered there to fight. Currently, both sides had victories and losses. Fight at that place? Knight Sorrow asked, a little surprised. That's right. Both sides have venerables. The intimidation of venerables is useless. If you sneak attack, then I'll sneak attack as well. Why don't we just crush them in a head-on battle? This is a competition of strength. Whoever can't withstand it will be pushed forward by the other side, Yang Lei said. Is Medicine Valley's loss serious? Knight Sorrow asked. It's okay. We lost some protectors and enforcers. The city guards that were mobilized from all over the place also suffered a great loss, Wu Qi said. I'm going to participate in the battle tomorrow, Knight Sorrow said. It's not very safe in the chaotic battle. It's better if you don't go, Chu Ling Xiao said. Senior brother Chu, I'm going to participate. Scarlet Cloud Sect and Golden Flame Sect declared war on Medicine Valley because of me. How can I hide at the back at this time? Yi Shang shook his head. He did not want to see the disciples of the Medicine Valley fighting for their lives in front of him, while he himself was still hiding in the back. Permanent. Free VT fee/watch VT talk. Chapter 306. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Hearing this, Knight Sorrow frowned. Don't we have an antidote in the Medicine Valley? Yes, but it's useless. The poison of the red cloud needle takes effect instantly. In that kind of chaotic battle, a momentary delay in reaction is fatal. There's no chance to take the antidote. Yang Lei shook her head and said. Knight Sorrow nodded. He knew the power of the red cloud needle. When Yang Lei was hit by the red cloud needle, she couldn't move, let alone the other 4th-level guardians and law enforcers. After talking for a while, Chu Ling Xiao and Wu Qi went to rest. They had just returned from the front and were tired. Yang Lei took Knight Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu to the backyard of the city lord's mansion and told Knight Sorrow the current situation in detail. The Golden Flame Sect and the Red Cloud Sect were fighting to the death with the Medicine Valley. The Medicine Valley sent out the older generation who volunteered to participate in the battle. In other words, they were members with little potential. As the older generation of the Medicine Valley, they were all aware and willing to fight for the Medicine Valley. They were willing to sacrifice themselves and work hard for the future of the Medicine Valley. This kind of desperate fight won't affect the development of the Medicine Valley, but it's heartbreaking. They are all good disciples of the Medicine Valley. Yang Lei said with some emotion. Ninth senior sister, don't they use poison needles? Find someone to make me some steel needles or dental needles. If they can use poison needles, so can we. Love, go little, say, Chu Knight Sorrow said. Normally, the bone needles made from the bones of high-level monsters were very powerful. However, what Knight Sorrow wanted to make was bone-rotting poison. Bone needles were not suitable. Only steel needles and dental needles with hardness close to that of or would work. Then let's try it. Guards. Yang Lei called someone and directly gave the order. Knight Sorrow, be careful when using poison. Don't hurt yourself, Sikong Chuyu reminded Night Sorrow. I will. Night Sorrow nodded. Then you guys have a good rest. I still have to go to the City Lord's mansion to sort out the information. These bastards are really troublesome. Yonglei cursed softly. Where are eldest senior brother and the others? Night Sorrow asked. Currently, neither side has sent out any stage 5 cultivators. However, in order to prevent any accidents, Great Elder and Great Senior Brother are standing guard at the front, Yonglei said. Are any of us injured? Night Sorrow asked. Your 11th senior brother was slightly injured. It happened the day before yesterday. The other side joined the new forces. We couldn't hold them off with only the older generation of protectors and enforcers. The second-generation disciples of Taishan Peak and Arctic Peak joined the battle. A few of them were injured, but none of them died. Yonglei opened her mouth and said, I'm sorry, Yonglei said. Night Sorrow's expression turned cold. Emo Chen's injuries had angered him. One had to know that Emo Chan had taken good care of him. During that period of time, Emo Chan had accompanied him on missions. Look at section Z3 on chapter 17-inch. I'll join you guys later. Yonglei was busy. She nodded at Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu and left. This is how the world works. The strong prey on the weak. If you are weak, others will bully you. If you are strong, others will respect you, Sikong Chuyu said. Baidu search AI Go female sign Xiao, say www.aichuxs. Soam Night Sorrow nodded. He understood what Sikong Chuyu meant because he already had a lot of feelings. In the evening, Yonglei returned with a bunch of steel needles. Night Sorrow took out the bone-rotting grass and thought for a moment. It's a waste to use it directly. I'll go get a pill furnace to refine poison. With Yonglei and Sikong Chuyu accompanying him, Night Sorrow went to buy 2 pill furnaces. After entering the 4th rank, Night Sorrow could condense alchemy fire and use a 4th rank pill furnace. The previous pill furnace had to be eliminated. He prepared 2 because one was used to refine poison and the other was used to refine other pills. After returning to the City Lord's mansion, Night Sorrow used some green radish grass to refine 2 large bottles of bone-rotting liquid. He then put on a pair of gloves and soaked the tips of the steel needles in the liquid. He then inserted them into his hidden weapon belt. This way, he wouldn't hurt himself. Will this work? Yonglei asked. It's more ruthless than their red cloud needles. This bone-rotting grass is very rare, Night Sorrow said. Yonglei nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow never exaggerated. After a night's rest, the 3 of them set off for Nanyang Lake under Yonglei's lead. It took them half a day to reach the Medicine Valley's camp by the Nanyang Lake. Old 9, why did you let 13 come? Nonsense. The Great Elder glared at Yonglei. Currently, the Medicine Valley didn't send out any young disciples because they were the future pillars of the Medicine Valley and needed protection. Night Sorrow was also the target of absolute protection. Great Elder, please don't blame my 9th senior sister. I was the one who wanted to come. They are all disciples of the Medicine Valley. Night Sorrow is one too. If they can sacrifice themselves for the Medicine Valley, so can Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow said while looking at the injured disciples of the Medicine Valley. Night Sorrow, this is not your battlefield. Go back. Chen Wu shouted. Great Elder, Second Elder, you are all doing this for my own good. I know this. However, I can't watch my fellow disciples fight while I hide at the back. If I do that, I won't be able to face my own heart, Night Sorrow said. The Great Elder and Second Elder didn't say anything. Since Night Sorrow had put it this way, their refusal was equivalent to a blow to their morale. Don't worry, Great Elder. We will stand at the front. We won't let anything happen to Night Sorrow, a white-haired old man said. A white-haired old man said. He was one of the people who had exhausted his potential and was charging at the very front. Don't worry, Great Elder. The other disciples of the Medicine Valley also stood up and said, I, Night Sorrow, am willing to live and die together with everyone. Night Sorrow said while waving his reincarnation spear. Live and die together. Live and die together. All the disciples of the Medicine Valley shouted. At this moment, the disciples of the Medicine Valley were filled with fighting spirit. Great Elder, I'm sorry. Night Sorrow bowed to the Great Elder. The Great Elder took a deep breath and nodded to Night Sorrow. You are the pride of the Medicine Valley. Go. Thank you, Great Elder. Night Sorrow was very happy to receive the Great Elder's permission. Looking at Night Sorrow's slightly immature but determined face, the Great Elder made a decision. If Night Sorrow was in danger, he would save Night Sorrow even if he had to risk the lives of the experts on the other side. Night Sorrow set up a huge animal skin tent. He and Sikong Chuyu still needed to rest. Besides, Yang Lei was also there. After Night Sorrow set up the tent, all the disciples of the Taishan Peak arrived. 13. Your fourth senior brother is impressed by your cultivation speed, Huang'an said with a smile. Fourth senior brother, come and drink. Night Sorrow opened the jug and poured a bowl of wine for everyone. Actually, it's nothing. Tomorrow, third senior brother and I will fight. You will follow behind him, Lu Peng said. Thank you, fifth senior brother. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Lu Peng. 13. I believe in your fighting ability. The main thing is to be careful of the opponent's scarlet cloud needle. Don't rush to the front. Even if you get hit by the needle, others can save you, Gong Xian reminded Night Sorrow. Chapter 307. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. 13. Stay close to me and your fifth senior brother tomorrow, Huanan, who had been silent all this time, said. He had been thinking about how to make Night Sorrow safer. Didn't you say that the disciples who participated in the battle were those who had exhausted their potential? Why are all of you participating? Night Sorrow felt that this statement was not right. Unspecified currency na first you, most of them are, but without a disciple in the late stage of the spirit severing stage, they can't withstand the enemy's attacks. Therefore, the second-generation disciples of each peak have to be the leaders. In order to avoid the enemy's red cloud needles, they have to engage in close combat with the enemy's masters. Even so, there are still disciples from Wangyun Peak who have died, Gong Xian explained to Night Sorrow. Eldest senior brother. I also have poison needles here. I can let third senior brother and fifth senior brother use them tomorrow. Night Sorrow took out the bone-rotting steel needles and placed them on the table. How's the effect? Gong Xian asked as he pulled out a poison needle. The poison needle is poisonous in the blue area, but it's fine in the white area. As long as it comes into contact with the flesh of animals or humans, it will directly corrode into blood, Night Sorrow said. Then, everyone pulled a gray bear for food and did an experiment. As a result, the gray bear fell instantly and slowly turned into blood. 13. Isn't this too overbearing? Lu Peng said. Love, go little, say, ku, yesterday, 13 knew that the Red Cloud sect used poison needles, so he researched this to restrain them. If they use the Red Cloud needles, we will use this, Yang Lei said as she hugged Night Sorrow's shoulder. Very good. Everyone take some and throw them away on the battlefield. Let them have a taste of the poison needles, Gong Xian said. Then, everyone took some poison needles, chatted for a while, and returned to their shacks to rest. Ninth senior sister, Chuyu, each of you take a few for self-defense, Night Sorrow said to Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu also took a few and carefully inserted them into their handkerchiefs. Ninth senior sister, I still have some bone-rotting liquid. If you can't handle it, you can go and forge some steel needles, Night Sorrow said to Yang Lei. The quality of the steel needles is not good enough. We can't waste the venom. We have to make some good needles, Yang Lei said. Then use the ice WYRM tooth. Night Sorrow gave the ice WYRM tooth he collected to Yang Lei and let Yang Lei arrange it. Then, Night Sorrow took out the Red Cloud needle. Under the confused gazes of Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu, he pricked his left arm. Then, the black jade spiritual energy rushed to his arm. What are you doing? Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu both stood up nervously. However, what happened next stunned the two girls. Night Sorrow swung the Red Cloud needle back and forth in his left arm. He was not affected at all. Then, Night Sorrow's left arm shook, and the Red Cloud needle was shaken out. A little black blood even oozed out. This Red Cloud needle can't hurt me, Night Sorrow said with a smile. The Red Cloud needle's venom was very strong, but Night Sorrow's body had been strengthened. His flesh and blood were filled with energy, so the venom could not spread quickly. Then, Night Sorrow's black jade spiritual energy froze the needle. This is possible? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow in shock. She knew the power of the red cloud needle very well. It's fine as long as the venom doesn't spread, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Yang Lei still did not understand, but she did not continue to ask. Then, the three of them meditated and rested, waiting for the next day's battle. The battle went on every day. They fought in the morning and reorganized in the afternoon. When they woke up in the morning, Sikong Chuyu helped Night Sorrow tidy up his hair. My cultivation is at rank 5, so I can't fight with you. You have to be careful. Love, Gob Little, Sabe W. Chu. Night Sorrow nodded. He carried the reincarnation spear and went to the camp of the Medicine Valley's disciples who were going to fight. 13. You have to be careful. The battle will take place at the stone mountain next to the shoal, Huanan said as he pointed at a place more than 10 li ahead. This was a special area. Both sides were camping at a relatively high place. It was a forest area, and Nanyang Lake was on the side. The middle area was relatively low. It was a shoal, and there was a stone mountain on the shoal. The originally green and white stones were already covered with dark streaks, which were traces of blood. Third senior brother, you have to be careful too. We have a lot of poison needles. If we can't handle it, we can rush out, Night Sorrow said to Huanan. Huanan nodded. This battle is a war of attrition. Both sides will send out around 200 people to seize the stone mountain until one side retreats. So don't rush too far ahead. While Huanan was speaking, a group of people rushed out from the opposite camp and headed towards the stone mountain. Medicine Valley's disciples, move out. The Great Elder waved his hand. As the Great Elder waved his hand, the Medicine Valley's disciples set off. The O Clan's people cheered. The Medicine Valley and the O Clan were fighting together, but their members were separated. Otherwise, there would be accidental injuries in the chaotic battle. This time, the Medicine Valley's disciples might be the O Clan's next. Soon, both sides met at the foot of the stone mountain and began to fight. Night Sorrow's true energy burst forth and formed a protective true energy around his body. He poured his vibrating energy into his reincarnation spear and slashed towards the Golden Flame Sect's disciple. Seeing that Night Sorrow's cultivation was at the second level of the spirit severing stage, the Golden Flame Sect's old man, who was at the fourth level of the spirit severing stage, sneered. He waved his battle blade and slashed towards Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Clang! With a muffled sound, the old man's battle blade was shaken off. His arms were also wrapped in snow-white frost. Chi! Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear instantly slashed across the old man's throat. After killing the old man, Night Sorrow's feet trembled. He swept his reincarnation spear and smashed it towards another Golden Flame Sect's disciple. Night Sorrow's arms had the strength of over 20,000 jin. In addition, his true energy was completely unleashed. How could this Golden Flame Sect's disciple, who was at the same level as Night Sorrow, withstand? His arms that were holding weapons were directly shaken off. His head was also smashed. Without even looking at the corpse, Night Sorrow waved his spear and pierced towards the neck of the old man who was suppressing the Medicine Valley's disciple. Feeling the strong wind assaulting his body, the old man turned around. Ignoring Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear, he swung his blade towards Night Sorrow's left chest. This was a method of fighting where both sides would suffer. He had exhausted all his potential. If he could fight until he defeated a young disciple like Night Sorrow, he would have profited. Die! Night Sorrow roared. His left hand executed the mysterious jade hands and grabbed towards the old man's battle blade. This scene caused the faces of the Medicine Valley's disciples to change. Night Sorrow's actions were too irrational. Exchanging one life for another was fine under normal circumstances. However, it was inappropriate in a group battle. Reckless! The Great Elder roared. His body flashed and he was about to attack. Great Elder, wait! Yang Lei had confidence in Night Sorrow, so she stopped the Great Elder. She knew the power of Night Sorrow's mysterious jade hands. Just as the Great Elder was wondering how Yang Lei stopped him, the situation of the battle changed. Night Sorrow's left hand grabbed the Golden Flame Sect's old man's battle blade. The reincarnation spear in his right hand pierced through the old man's chest. Then, Night Sorrow swung his left hand and threw the battle blade towards the Golden Flame Sect's disciples. He directly killed a Golden Flame Sect's disciple who was at the peak of the third step. Chapter 308. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow, who was charging forward, suddenly stopped because 2 crimson cloud needles had appeared on his shoulders. This scene made the spectating members of Medicine Valley worried. They all noticed the red cloud needle on Night Sorrow's shoulder. The battlefield was chaotic. Even First Elder, Gong Xian, and the others could not see very clearly. However, everyone had the ability to detect and sense, so the scene of the battlefield was imprinted in their minds. At this time, the disciples of the Golden Flame Sect surrounded Night Sorrow. They saw the scarlet cloud needle on Night Sorrow's shoulder and knew that he couldn't move. However, at this moment, Night Sorrow made his move. With a sweep of his reincarnation spear, he sent a few disciples of the Golden Flame Sect flying, breaking their sternum and shattering their internal organs. What's the situation? Old Nine, do you know? The Great Elder looked at Yang Lei and asked. Scarlet cloud needles can't do anything to 13. They have made the wrong decision, Yang Lei said with narrowed eyes. You have poison needles, do you think we don't? Lu Peng was infuriated when he saw someone shoot scarlet cloud needles at Night Sorrow. He took out his rotten bones and aimed at the leader of the Golden Flame Sect. Lu Peng's speed was so fast that the members of the Golden Flame Sect were not prepared for it. One of them managed to dodge it, but the other one who was fighting with Huan Nan was hit. After being hit by the bone-rotting needle, this middle-aged man with a peak spirit-severing stage cultivation base from the Golden Flame Sect fell to the ground and turned into a pool of blood. Love, go little, say, Kulu Peng continued to release poison needles, killing a few Golden Flame Sect disciples with high cultivation. Night Sorrow brandished his reincarnation spear and dodged any late 4th Order martial artists he encountered. If he encountered early 4th Order and mid-4th Order martial artists, he would violently attack them. Then, he rushed to the peak of the stone mountain and fought with the Golden Flame Sect's disciples. In just a short while, Night Sorrow had killed more than a dozen disciples of the Golden Flame Sect. The area under his feet was covered in blood. Night Sorrow's quick and brutal slaughter had attracted the attention of the Golden Flame Sect's disciples. A late-stage spirit-severing expert from the Golden Flame Sect rushed to the peak and attacked Night Sorrow. This person was very smart. He knew that Night Sorrow's strength was tyrannical, and his Zhen Qi attribute was also difficult to restrain, so he didn't want to clash head-on with Night Sorrow. Instead, he surrounded Night Sorrow and attacked with his sword Qi, which made things a little difficult for Night Sorrow. While Night Sorrow was fighting with this disciple of the Golden Flame Sect, other disciples of the Golden Flame Sect came to besiege Night Sorrow. They had all learned how to use sword Qi and saber Qi to attack. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow was unable to attend to one thing and lost sight of another. His back was struck by a saber light. Baidu search AI Go female sign Xiao, say www.aichuxs. The saber light broke through Night Sorrow's protective Zhen Qi, and its attacking power was greatly reduced. In addition, Night Sorrow was wearing an ice silk soft robe, so the saber light only left a wound on his waist. Night Sorrow was protected by the energy of the myriad Tao Tome, so this wound was only a simple superficial wound. However, he knew that danger was coming. As his thoughts turned, Night Sorrow rushed to one side. These people's cultivation was higher than his. Once he was trapped, he would be easily dismembered by their energy attacks. Night Sorrow's indomitable charge made the person who intercepted him unlucky. His weapon was directly knocked away, and his body was sent flying by the reincarnation spear. His sternum was shattered, and it seemed that he would not be able to survive. However, Night Sorrow was still surrounded. The disciples of the Golden Flame Sect were determined to kill Night Sorrow first. This was because someone recognized Night Sorrow, and knew that Night Sorrow was a genius disciple of the Medicine Valley. This situation made Huanan and Lu Peng anxious. After killing their opponents, they rushed to the Stone Mountain. After killing the disciples of the Golden Flame Sect, Huanan and Lu Peng rushed to Night Sorrow's back and broke through the encirclement. 13, are you okay? Huanan asked worriedly. I'm fine. The scarlet cloud needle on Night Sorrow's shoulder was long gone. That place was protected by the ice silk soft robe. Then continue to kill. Huanan and Lu Peng began to chase after the disciples of the Golden Flame sect. Night Sorrow was not idle either. How is this possible? Qi Feng, how can your scarlet cloud needle be ineffective? Could it be that he has a protective treasure robe? An old man from the Scarlet Cloud sect asked the man who fired the Scarlet Cloud needle. Then he spoke of his own guess. Soon, the battle ended. Night Sorrow's face was slightly red. The high-intensity battle did not make him feel tired. Instead, it made him feel excited. Read the original chapter on GY. Fighting in a crisis was the best way to hone one's combat experience. Night Sorrow felt that his spear skills had improved a lot. The battle is over. We can retreat now, Huanan said to Night Sorrow. At this time, the remaining disciples of the Golden Flame sect had already retreated. Night Sorrow nodded and followed the people of the Medicine Valley back to the Medicine Valley area. Many people in the Medicine Valley were injured. However, compared to the Golden Flame sect, the Medicine Valley had won a big victory. Seeing the group return, the Great Elder and the others came to welcome them. 13. Are you okay? How could you rashly go in so deep? The Great Elder's heart was still hanging in suspense. I was a little impulsive, but I'm fine, Night Sorrow said. But we saw that you were poisoned? Qian Wu, who had been puzzled, asked the question on everyone's mind. I have a protective armor. The red cloud needles did not hurt me, Night Sorrow explained. In fact, without the ice silk soft armor, Night Sorrow was not afraid of the red cloud needles. The Great Elder nodded and asked the other disciples of the Medicine Valley to bandage the injured disciples. Night Sorrow also returned to the animal skin shack. Under the compulsion of Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu, he bandaged the wound on his waist. By the time Yishang finished treating his wounds, Gong Xian and the others had arrived. 13. You were too reckless today. Huanan was a little scared. If Night Sorrow had not been able to hold on, he would have been killed and dismembered. If that had happened, he and Lu Peng would not have been able to answer to Yu Yang Yu. Thank you, third senior brother and fifth senior brother, for helping me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to escape, Night Sorrow said with a smile. A group battle is different from a one-on-one battle. In a group battle, you have to consider your own safety first, Gong Xian said. I know. I will be careful tomorrow, Night Sorrow said with a nod. Tomorrow, the O family will fight. You don't have to go, Huanan said. Then I will fight. I will be careful. Today's situation will not happen again. Night Sorrow planned to train his combat experience after reaching the 4th stage. While Night Sorrow was chatting, the Golden Flame Sect's camp was also discussing. Elder Qi, why did your red cloud needles fail to work on that guy? Qi Tiancheng asked. Qi Tiancheng was currently in charge of the Golden Flame sect. Qi Qianli was in charge of the Red Cloud sect. That guy might be wearing a protective armor, Qi Qianli analyzed. Can their poison needles solve the problem? Our sect's disciples have all died. Qi Tiancheng's expression was unsightly. After all, the Golden Flame sect had lost many disciples in today's battle. It's the bone-rotting poison. Apart from being decisive and cutting off the poisoned area or taking precautions, there is no other way, Qi Qianli said. Qi Tiancheng's face turned ashen when he heard Qi Qianli's words. The poisoned arms and thighs could be cut off, but what about the neck and body? Furthermore, what was the difference between self-harm and suicide in battle? Chapter 309. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by Go? Talk Web. Providing you with wonderful novels to read. Great news, excavators don't need money anymore. If you gather 10,000 yuan before the night of the 28th, the website will give you 10,000 excavators for free. 10,000 excavators. You can still get your money back after half a month. This is very important to me, I'm crying. If you have the ability, hurry up. This is really a free excavator, 10,000 excavators. You can just click on the excavator page and you can see it. Shizi also had a few words that he wanted to say. This investment is not a scam. That is to say, when you invest, you will be asked to fill in your Alipay or bank card information. Only when you withdraw your money will you be able to invest. 0 original first equals $send on the 13th of October. You can get your money back. This is equivalent to using your money. It's only half a month. Since everyone doesn't care about the interest, I won't say too much. Dan Zhongli is here. If you can't withdraw your money, then you can look for me. Calling everyone, the main thing is that the Myriad Das Ascension stage really needs the 10,000 excavators given by the website. 10,000 excavators are very important to this book. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.